Well, good morning and welcome to the Lockhart Radio Podcast. I am your host, Felicia Lockhart, and this is our morning show here on Saturday. It is the 2nd of August, 2025, and I'm up with the roosters and the chickens. I don't know about y'all, but I got my coffee because it has been a heck of a week, and coffee is really required at this point. But today we're going to look at the congressman here in the United States that has now demanded or requested, as it were, that George Soros come in and have a conversation. So I don't know how this is going to work. I do know that he's been requested to go and have an audience with several other countries over the past years. But I don't know how it's going to fare for the United States. It's a noble cause. I mean, I think that it's a noble cause. I think that it's a great quest, and it's also a wonderful request to have George Soros come in to, have audience. But the question is that going to happen? That's the question. Is it going to happen? Is he going to show up? So that's what we're looking at today. We're looking at the question, will George Soros please stand up? I don't know. I think that it's wonderful that Mr. Burkett is Tim Burkett. He's formally requested that the billionaire financier George Soros and his associate Leonard Bernardo, that is the senior vice president of Open Society Foundation. They're looking for him to come with George Soros and have a conversation. I'm just sitting here wondering why we are playing the game, because if anybody wanted access to this cat, they could have got him a long time ago. All they had to do was show up at an event. Either him or his son would have been there. But do you even think that it's him anymore doing any of this stuff? That's a good question, because I know he's up in age, and hell, I remember a few years ago, they even had a rumor that he was no longer with us, that he had fallen ill at an event that they had. So you never know. But let's get into this article, and I want you to let me know what you think down below in the comments. It says the Billionaires Foundation was allegedly involved in the 2016 smear campaign and in instigating the FBI probe into the collusion claim. So U.S. Representative Tim Burchett has officially requested that billionaire financier George Soros and his associate Leonard Bernardo, senior vice president at the Open Society Foundations, testify before Congress regarding their alleged involvement in the 2016 Russiagate affair targeting Donald Trump. In a letter sent out on Friday, August 1st, 2025, the House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer urged the panel to sort of ask him to come. And then he says that if he refuses to appear voluntarily, then they would just like him to push it for him to come with that subpoena. So if you don't want to come on your own, we'll just give you a subpoena. This guy doesn't care. The request follows that declassification that we talked about a couple of days ago, where the DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, and the Senate Judiciary Committee got together and made sure that they put the nail to the coffin. So they state that it's Soros, and you look here, everybody, it's the usual suspects. That's basically what this is. It's basically what it is. Here's a quote from Burchett. He says, as you know, DNI Tulsi Gabbard recently declassified the evidence of a conspiracy by former President Obama, Hillary Clinton, and the national security apparatus to manufacture and politicize intelligence to subvert President Trump and the will of the American people. He continues with, included in this evidence is a concerning email alleged from Leonard Bernardo plotting to discredit the incoming Trump administration. Burchett emphasizes the OSF's ongoing influence in the United States elections and said that the American public deserves an answer. Well, on that, I have to agree with him. I agree with his heart, and I agree with everything that he's trying to push forward. Because no matter what it is, just everyday American people, not people like you or myself who really do, dig deep down into these topics and already know who some of the major players are. There's a lot of people out there that are a little disillusioned and don't know exactly what happened. So, to Burchett's point, he's absolutely right. The American people do need to know the truth, and they do need to know exactly what happened. But here's what he goes on to say. Should they refuse the invitation, I encourage you to use subpoena powers. Again, he reiterates, Americans deserve answers into the subversion of our institutions by malicious actors, he added. Well, you know what? Good for him. Good for him for standing up. Good for him for putting his face and name out there. It's even on X. It's on Twitter. It is. It somebody put it up there and just thanked him for him doing that and being, he's a little ballsy if you ask me, because a lot of people won't even say this cat's name. It's almost like he's the what is that old movie? There was an old movie, and they were afraid to say Sandman's name 3 times or whatever, or Bloody Mary in the bathroom mirror. They were afraid. So I put him in that category. Everybody gets afraid to say his name, but good for Burchett and good for him standing up for the people that sent him up. So that's a good thing. I mean, I'm being honest. This to me is something nice to see, because at least he's going for the source, not these. And I'm not saying, the DNI is wrong either. What I'm saying is the timing. That's what I said about her situation, is because of the fact that back then they had the opportunity to bring this forward and they chose not to. Why? Who knows? But I do applaud Burchett for having enough guts to stand up and say, hey, look, this isn't right. Get this guy, get his buddy, and do away with both of them if he comes. That's a good question. Is he going to come? Now, there's been some other things that's gone on overnight. And I don't know, you guys, tell me, what do you think about this? Are you a little concerned about some of the pop-off conversations that we're having with our president? I think that, I don't know, I thought he talked a lot before, and I thought he tweeted even more then. But right now, I'm a little concerned, because there's a buzz around the world that says that he is attempting to go nuclear war with Russia. But I don't think that's what it is. And I do think that the sensationalism of the news is a bit much, because, when you ask Trump a question, he's going to answer the question, and he's not going to be, shy or shocked, shy or scared or coy about it. He was asked questions about, what do you say about this? I mean, if you say they were talking nuclear, then what do you think? Well, President Trump said that he cannot treat any talk of nuclear weapons lightly. I would not expect him to. Just being honest. I would not expect him to. He said he would not take any of that type of talk lightly, and that the United States must always be totally prepared for any potential confrontation, responding to what he described as an inappropriate threat. Now, this was the threat that was made by Medvedev. All right. So he's talking about what he and Dmitry Medvedev did together. To me, this is what I feel. I feel like you started something, and then Medvedev said something back, and you said something, and it was like a volley of tennis going back and forth. And I think that's the problem. And that's the difference between the political parties of today and the country's leaders of today than it was the country's leaders of yesterday. Those were your, older leaders that dealt more in diplomacy. And then again, even though they dealt more in diplomacy, we did not have the opportunity of social media. Yeah, that's it. Social media, I know, has gotten a lot of people in a lot of trouble over the years. And I believe that that's the issue. But I would not expect our president to sit down. I really don't. What I think is, don't kick the bear. Okay. Don't kick the bear. Don't poke him in the eye. Don't mess with anybody. But I certainly would expect for him to defend us. Having said that, I would have hoped that he would have had a better mindset of how to handle these kinds of things instead of always taking things to Truth Social. He has so many other opportunities for him to allow his voice to be heard. Did you know that they have a whole entire press area for the White House online? He could have written how he felt about whatever was going on there, put it there diplomatically, and let that set for a moment, but he didn't. And so since he didn't, he and Medvedev are going back and forth like two toddlers playing over a toy truck at a preschool. So it was at a White House conference that Trump explained his order to deploy those 2 nuclear submarines earlier on Friday. He had vowed to send them to what he called the appropriate regions. Now, I do see there was a backpedal and somebody said, well, no, the Pentagon and no one has released exactly where they are. Well, we all know they're in Kamchatka. That's where else would they go? Because that's exactly where the Russians have their stuff right there. That's the same area. So why would you go anywhere else? But nonetheless, I digress. It says that he's going to send them to the appropriate regions in a post to Truth Social, on Truth Social again. And I don't have that app, but I sure wish I did, because I'd love to see what some of the people think about what's really going on over there. I mean, I'd love to get in there and read some of those comments. I hope you brought your coffee. I did, and I'm going to sip mine. But I really honestly wish that I could see exactly what they think. So it goes on to say, well, when he was asked the question, this is what Trump's response was when one of the reporters are asked a question. He said, well, we had to do that as far as, moving the submarines. He said, well, we had to do that. We just have to be careful. A threat was made and we don't think that it was appropriate. So I do, that on the basis of having safety for our people. A threat was made by a former president of Russia, and we're going to protect our people. That's a bunch of BS, to be honest with you, because you're out there picking with people, and then you want everybody to get this understanding. Well, Medvedev said it first. Medvedev said it first, and I looked it up. It was you. It was you. You made a comment, and you laid it out there, and it was dealing with India and Russia. And so he kindly remarked back to that statement, not saying that he was right, because if I was him, I would have left you looking like a dodo, just sitting out there. But he made the comment back. And then after he made that comment, you said something stupid. And he was like, oh, okay, well, really? You think so? No problem, player. Go right on ahead. Have your day. But don't forget your favorite movie and all the movies that you like to talk about, all the Walking Dead and all that stuff. Don't forget that. And don't forget what we got. You talk too much. See, I'm going to say this. America is not as old as people think it is. We all know, but a lot of these young folks that are listening to all this scuttlebutt, they really think that we've got, that moxie that we once had, and we don't. We do not. We do not. We used to be the business. Let me close this back door over here, you guys. Hold up. I'm going to give you guys a little commercial until I come back, so that way you don't have to hear me scooch the chair back, move it out of the way, and then close the door. Hey everyone, it's me, Felicia, of the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. I want to tell you a little secret. This is what I used to do, because I don't do it anymore. I would go to the store, buy the barbecue sauce, pour it inside of a bowl, put a whole bunch of different spices, a dash of brown sugar, a dash of maple, and a dash of mustard, stir it all around, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best, this is the best. But I was exhausted after all of that, and a lot of times I couldn't remember how many dashes of what I put in it. But I don't have to do that anymore, because now I just go to Judge Joe Brown's website and I order his 3-pack of bottled barbecue sauce. It is by far the best, and I do mean the best barbecue sauce I've ever eaten. And when you go to his website and you order his 3-pack, you'll see exactly what I mean. Head on over to jjbbbbq.com and order Judge Joe Brown's barbecue sauce. You'll be glad you did, and you're going to tell me about it. I know you will. All right, we're back. Now you can still hear the chair scooch back in. But anyway, all right, so here's what I just really honestly feel like the The politicians of yesterday are gone. And so what do we do? What do we do? I mean, I get it, but again, when you say something like, "Oh, well, their economies are this and that," and you're talking about India and Russia, here is what I believe, and this is how I feel, and I'm going to be honest with you guys because I'm not going to beat around the bush. I truly feel like Trump is literally in the bed, warming his feet with Israel, literally. And I feel like every single thing that he does is motivated by a a debt that was owed because he was, let's just lay it down here and say it once and for all. So many billions of dollars he was in debt. That debt was covered by somebody. And his campaign was covered by some heavyweights when it comes to money and when it comes to old money. And I believe this guy's gotten himself in a situation where it's going to be difficult for him to ever, save face or pull himself out of the rat race or out of the hole that he's in. He's in a deep rabbit hole. I honestly believe that. Honestly do. I believe that he's in a deep little rabbit hole there, and I can't see him getting out of it anytime soon. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking that it means that we are really out here on a raft by ourselves. Because as a country, and that's why, and I know there's going to be a lot of people who will hear this in the replay. Well, no, I'm not. It's not ourselves. I'm this and I'm that. I get it. But at the end of the day, when you boil all of the water out of the pot, if you don't have anywhere to get up and leave and go to be safe someplace else, you are a part of that us. Even though these people are the ones making the decision, and even though we all know that our, lives are not hid in him, they're hid in our Father. We get that. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just bare bones, down to the bottom. This guy, I feel, is in bed with somebody he shouldn't be in bed with. And I believe that somebody actually called in a marker on him because the decisions that he's making are diametrically opposed to all of the things that he's said over the years. And now with him cutting a rug with Medvedev online, going back and forth, they're dancing. That's a problem. I don't see any individual who's got any good common sense that would poke and continue. And then once you get us to that door, what is the goal? Because see, these things are not always going to happen where they end up across the water and there's a skirmish at all of our bases elsewhere. Not that it's not a good thing, even though it's at our bases, it's not on our soil, but it's still affecting our people. I get that part. But what's going to happen if some of those, some of those some of that crap you doing out there in the streets, and I'm trying not to cuss like a cuss. I'm trying not to be me like I'm me, because I'm trying to be respectful of everybody. But if I just had to say it out there and just let myself be me, what's going to happen when your ass get out there and write a check that you cannot cash? You're going to get out there and let your mouth write a check that your ass can't cash. And when that happens, then what you going to do? Okay, let me just be me. What's going to happen? Because see, I know that there's a lot of folks that are going along with the script, but there's a cat or two that ain't. And what is the goal? Is it that you're going to keep pushing all of these different countries that you've now got a foothold in? That could be it as well. Could have a little foothold someplace. He could have hold on to somebody's heel. He may have a hold of somebody in a couple of these different countries because Iran sure folded quickly. Yeah. That's how I saw it. That's how I see it. Yeah. So I believe that is a big problem. So let's talk about what is the contingency plan for just a regular everyday man, regular everyday woman. What's the plan? Because I do believe that he is very, very paid off right now. Well, no, he's paying back. What's the chick's name? It's a older woman. Her husband passed on. Jewish lady, long white hair, rich as a son of a gun. I can't think of this chick's name because I've only had about 4 sips of this coffee. But this broad is so rich and has, I think she put in like $100 million into his campaign. Yeah, yeah, she did. They're not gonna take it lightly if you don't do whatever they want you to do, baby. So I think that's what we're dealing with. I think I believe that's what we're dealing with, and that's a problem. So again, earlier this week, when Medvedev reacted to Trump's dismissal of New Delhi's commitment to relying on Russian energy, see, that's what he upset with, and that's that stuff right there. That's that. Ooh wee. Oh boy, too bad we ain't all in the kitchen together, just sitting around the table talking. But that's that bitch assness right there. You running around here acting like a little girl. You running around here going from one person's ear to the next person's ear to the next person's ear, and you're tapping on everybody. And it's totally out of your personal character, but it is the character of that dude that sent you. It's 110% his character. That is exactly who you're acting like. That's how I know. When I woke up this morning, that was what it was, so gnawing. It was almost like I knew it, but I've never verbalized it because I always hoped that that was not the case. But that's the case. That's the case. It's just too much evidence out there once I start just really stopping and just trying to, focus. That's the case. Yeah. Yeah. So what he did is he poked fun at New Delhi. He made a comment, Trump's dismissal of that comment about them relying on Russian energy. It says, earlier in the week, Medvedev had reacted to Trump's dismissal of New Delhi's commitment to relying on Russian energy. Quote, about India and Russia's dead economies and entering very dangerous territory. Well, let him remember his favorite movies about the Walking Dead, as well as how dangerous the fabled dead hand can be, Medvedev wrote. Okay, so did you expect for somebody not to say something back? Now that you're upset about a word, now let me just pull up. No, player, your plan was to pull up all along because, like I said, right before you pulled them submarines up, live, I said it, that I found it quite curious that they had that terrible 8.8 only hours after you made your comment that you did not want to give them the 50 days. 50 days, that's you. You would do that 50 days and you would monitor it and watch it because as a businessman, you have always worked on a timetable. But when you double backed on your word and gave them people 10 days as if you are some god, when you rock the shoes of a you were actually acting mental like Caligula Caesar. You were acting like somebody that I turned my head twice. I was like, yo, wait, what? That's like exactly like the cat that just sat down and signed an agreement with you and then embarrassed you not even 3 weeks later and did the opposite of what you all agreed to. We got a problem, Houston. We got a problem. We got a problem. How we fix it, I don't know. I do not know. I do not know. I don't think that there's when you got deep pockets and all of this stuff, Dylan, you got a problem. So the dispute escalated after Trump referred to Medvedev as a failed leader and warned him to watch his words. Watch your words. Knock this stick off my shoulder. Medvedev, who currently serves as the deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council, responded with a scathing message warning against provoking Moscow too far. Don't push it. Don't push it, newbie. Y'all ain't been here but a couple of 100 years. Don't push it. Leave it alone. Referencing the legendary I think is that, and I keep saying because their words are so, like Medvedev, his name, and then this premature. Anyway, if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. And I said that when I did the recording for you guys, but It's an atomic nuclear retaliation system, which dates back to the Soviet era and is presumed to be still in existence. And I don't think what happens if it is or what happens if it isn't, I don't know. I don't live there. I don't care about that country. I care about our country. But whether it is or isn't, it is of no consequence, because it puts us in a situation where, why are we having a war on words when we just need to be diplomatic, do what you say, and then shut up. Stay off Truth Social. Stay off of X. Stop running your mouth. Just be quiet. Even if you're sold out, shut up. Though Russia has never officially confirmed the existence of the system, it's widely believed by Western analysts to serve as a last resort deterrent in the event of a decapitating strike on the Russian leadership, meaning when they say decapitating, taking all the head out, taking all of the leadership out. So then Trump condemned the former Russian leader's rhetoric as foolish and inflammatory, warning that words are very important and can often lead to unintended consequences. Putting it all in a basket, I get it. I do get it. But there's also cause and effect. Yes. Do I want a president who's going to say, hey, yo, wait a minute, you're going a little too far? Yes, I do. I do want that kind of president. But I don't want the kind of president who throws a rock and then hides his hand. And then when the person responds, acts exactly like them people over there, because that's what they do. They'll throw something at somebody, hurt somebody, and then when that person responds, they run on the world stage and say, see what they did, we're a victim. And they're not a victim. They're actually the person who started the fight. You know, we talked about that before, where you get that little kid on the playground. He's always accused of being the person that starts the fight because the bully throws the rock and hides his hand. And that's exactly what this is. So yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. All right. Anyway, what can you say? What can you do? What can you say and what can you do? Well, it looks like we've got some conversations coming out of the mouth of Mr. Tesla right now himself, Muskie. Muskie's got a lot of comments. Muskie's got a lot of stuff that he's saying. And I don't know, you guys, do you believe a lot of the things that Muskie is talking about? I don't know. I think we have 3 people in here today. Let's see. Oh, we got 4. Excellent. That's good. Hey, Carrie Richardson. How you doing, precious? How are you? You agree about the red man. It's a mess that we have. But I tell you, it's going to be a mess until it's not. And when it's not, I don't know. I just don't. But how have you been? You doing good? It's good to see you. It's really good to see you. It's great to see you. I know that we have a lot of tariffs right now that are costing a lot of money. And I think the reason why we really do need I think we need the interest rate to go down is so that it makes it look a lot better for us. It's a little more. Here's the thing. I think that Trump really wants those interest rates to go down. There's 2 problems. One, he wants to put in whoever Israel wants in now as the Fed chair. And then the second thing is, I also think that it's because it'll make it look like the tariffs are working, and it'll make it look like everything else that he's trying to do is working. Because if that's lower, it gives a little more pressure off, takes a little the edge off. Am I wrong? I don't know. Could be wrong, but I don't think so. I don't think so. So let's talk about one other little thing, since we just got through dealing with, I'm going to talk about Muskie in a second. I would just like more folks to come in before I start talking about the heavier stuff. I had to get that first story out of the way, because when I woke up and found that they're now framing the conversation to say that they need Soros to come in and have a conversation, I wanted to tell you guys that. But this is also just, like a little recap and us chatting and talking, just a relaxed talking on the Saturday morning here. I don't know. Is there something else that's happened that I don't know about? Lord have mercy. But I do know that Trump media invests $2 billion in Bitcoin, and I don't know whether that is a conflict of interest or not. Anybody? Anybody? Is that? I don't know. Is it? Mm. All right, let's just take a couple of looks here. All righty. Sweeping Trump tariffs hit allies and adversaries alike, while a study suggests that the average American household will spend $1,000 per annum more due to tariffs. Okay, so the sweeping tariffs is going to cause us allegedly to spend a little bit more money. Okay, I see. What are your thoughts, Felicia? Well, I can't see it being no different than it has been, baby. I can't see it being any different than it has been. We've been spinning out of the wazoo since, post COVID, because to me, that was just a nice little way to get everybody all in one little huddle. hmm So it says that a new wave of sweeping tariffs imposed by the United States is sending shockwaves through global markets as dozens of countries, from long-standing allies to economically vulnerable nations, brace for steep economic fallout. The new measure, some of which go as high as 50%, will take effect on August the 7th, affecting hundreds of billions of dollars in trade. The tariff policy, announced without formal trade doctrine or multilateral consultations, has been widely criticized for its unpredictability and lack of transparency. Critics, including trade economists and foreign leaders, say the actions appear arbitrary, targeting both economic rivals and friendly nations alike, with some decisions seemingly by political grievances rather than trade imbalances. Oh my God, I agree with that. I really agree with that. Asia bears the brunt. Asian economies have emerged as the hardest hit region. Myanmar and Laos, already struggling with poverty and political instability, face devastating 40% tariffs, potentially crippling their limited export sectors. Brunei, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, and Thailand are all subject to 25% tariffs, hitting key sectors such as textiles, jewelry, and electronics, industries that are vital to millions of workers across the region. Taiwan will also be affected, facing a 20% tariff on high-value tech exports. Indonesia and Malaysia have fared, slightly better. They fared, excuse me, you guys. Hey, I ain't took but 3 sips. They have fared slightly better, but will still face 19% duties. Wow. Pakistan is facing 19% tariff, and that has drawn particular scrutiny. Experts point to the fact or the report of a clandestine geoeconomic deal involving figures close to the Trump family, suggesting the tariffs may be politically motivated. This is sounding a lot like what we hated in the last administration. There are whispers that are just really not cool, man. I mean, I wish we could just get rid of everything, just to be the states. Just let the states do it, and then if anything happens within the state, we can handle them because we can get to them faster. we can get to them quicker than we could anybody else. We can get to them quicker. We can go sit in their office and sit on their front lawn, as it were, and let them know how we feel. The new tariffs are not limited to Asia. Syria, a country still in the throes of civil war and humanitarian crisis, will be hit with 41% tariffs. A move that analysts describe as punitive and indifferent to the country's humanitarian needs. What the hell? What's wrong with this guy? Is it this guy? It's messing up this guy's name. Because if I was this guy, I would, I don't know where this guy really is, because I know that little guy that I keep telling you guys is like 5'9", 6 feet. That ain't him. But they're jacking up this guy's reputation. I mean, is this guy still stuck underground from COVID and they're not telling him that COVID is over? I mean, is the continuity of governments, they ain't nobody told him? Because I seen him sign everything over to FEMA. And what did they do after that? Take him underground? Did he ever come back out? Does he know what's going on? Does he know what the stunt double's doing? Has anybody had a conversation with him about what the stunt double's got going on? Does anybody have an answer? Nobody has an answer? All right, well, let's just move along. So it's a 41% tariff, a move that analysts describe as punitive and indifferent to the country's humanitarian needs. Switzerland, a neutral nation, and a key financial hub, will face 39% tariffs, reportedly due to its lack of commitment to the European security initiatives. Canada, traditionally one of America's closest allies, will see a steep 35% tariff on the exports. You get them, Trump. You go, boy. In contrast, other major economies like the European Union, 15%, Japan, 15%, the United Kingdom, 10%, have been relatively spared. China, often the focal point of the U.S. trade tensions, has so far avoided additional tariffs, likely due to the ongoing trade negotiations and the behind-the-scenes diplomacy. Better watch it with the behind-the-scenes diplomacy and negotiations, because both of y'all now, Trump and China, go back on their word now. Trump didn't used to do it as much, but now this dude is like, F it. I said it yesterday, I changed my mind. That was the other Gemini you were talking to, not this one. He can't speak for both of us. He can only speak when I allow him to. And then when I allow him to, it's, when I feel like it. And if I feel like it, I let him. So that's the other Gemini. This is me. And I say, turncoat. Turn in your word, throw it away. Your word's not worth trash. While foreign governments are voicing their concerns, it's American consumers who may face the most immediate consequences. Economists warn that the tariffs act as a hidden tax on the United States public, since importers typically pass the increased cost along the supply chain. Consumers will ultimately pay more for everyday goods, from clothing to electronics. A recent study estimates that the average U.S. household will spend an additional $1,000 per year as a direct result of the tariffs. The tariffs, this is a quote, "Tariffs of this scale, applied this broadly, disrupt established global supply chains and drive up costs across the board." This is from Emily Garcia, an economist at the Patterson Institute for International Economics. And then she continues with, the idea that the United States can tariff its way to prosperity without consequences is not grounded in economic reality. I'm sorry, but before reading that, I thought that to myself. I was like, how is this going to make things better? And then, this poor guy will get to leave here soon. You know what I mean? He will actually get to leave here, Carrie. Hey, Mr. Leslie. He's actually going to get to roll out in a minute. He won't have to be here to deal with the fallout. That's like you allowing somebody to come into your house temporarily and stay, and they do some terrible damage. You had this beautiful, well-maintained copper piping, and you let them stay in your guest room. And they were like, well, I'm leaving next month. No problem. They were leaving next month. Okay, cool. We got you. See you when you leave. When you leave, let me know. All right, I'll let you know. And then when they get ready to leave, they go through there and tear out all that copper pipe. And then you come back to the house trying to get yourself a shower, and there's no pipes because they done took them and ran with them. I akin his behavior to that. I'm not here no more. I don't care. I don't need to take a shower. I'm out. Deal with it. That's exactly what we're going to be. I don't know who's going to run next year. And 2028, is it? 2028? You ain't jiving, Maxivision. You're not even kidding. That's exactly what we need. We need self-sustainability. We really do. We don't need to be asking nobody, can we have some fresh fruit, please? Can we have fruit that even third world countries have better than us, please? This basketball player said he don't know what happened. He went overseas. I think he said he went to either, let's say, for example, it was Colombia, because I don't remember whether it was Colombia, Costa Rica, or where he went. But this dude said he went out of the country. And he said he went over there, wherever the country was. He went over there and he, ate pretty decent. He was there for X amount of days. He said he lost 16 pounds and he didn't know why. And he thought, well, maybe it was because he was doing some training or whatever. And so the next time that he went, he wasn't necessarily training, but he was eating pretty good. And he said he ate his butt off. He loved the food. The food was delicious. He said he lost another 16 pounds and he couldn't figure it out. It's because of the fact that he got over there and he was eating real food. And that was the scream to me. That was the scream when I saw some of these folks that some of the people that they had paid to come over here. They did an interview with this man and his family. He was like, no, we go back home now. We cannot. This food is nasty. Everything is terrible. There's no jobs. They told us it was going to be jobs. And the money they were supposed to give, they have not given the money. So we're leaving. Man, I hit the floor. This is a mess. This is a mess. I'm glad that we're seeing, other countries are like, and like she said, the idea that the U.S. can tariff its way to prosperity without consequences is not grounded in economic reality. And who is she? Again, Dr. Emily Garcia is an economist at the Patterson Institute for International Economics. She deals with this on a daily basis. She knows what she's talking about. Well, she's Emily Garcia. Okay? The lack of clarity sparks global anxiety. Bingo, bango. That's another thing that he doesn't have this time. Hold on, you guys. Let me update our title. Yeah. That's another thing that we don't have this time. If you remember before, he had a lot of people that were really smart that was working for him. I don't know why he's chosen such a goof troop this time. Here, I think I'll put it like that. Testify. And then just... let's see, what else can we change this to? All righty, there we go. Let's see what we do to it now. Well, you just made a hell of a mess, didn't you, soul sister? Didn't you, soul sister? Yeah, you did. It's all good though in the hood. Yeah, but so anyway, I just feel like the last time that he was here, he had a stronger team, people that were really, really in tune with what they were doing. These people are more sensational and they don't really have much substance. And there's not a lot of people that could have reined him in last time, but there's really not a lot that are reining him in now. And I think that the next person that we get is going to be a Democrat or an independent or somebody from some weird made up, and well, they'd have to start now to make up a new party. They'd have to actually start now, or would have started a few years ago. Yeah, they would have had to start a couple of years ago, because if you look at it, there's no way for them to have this newfound party right now, because you only got a couple of years in the making. You would have had to already hit the ground running, had a relationship with the people, been able to touch them, feel them, and make a difference. So either we're going to get them to have another, raggedy, just take the rest of the place down, because it's like it's like the last few presidential situations have been like a moving earthquake. You know how you'll have the jerking ones? Well, it's like somebody came in and jerked it right to left. The next president came and jerked it up and down. And then the next one's coming in right to left. And eventually you're going to pull it off the wall and it's not going to be there anymore. And it's exactly what's going to happen. So I don't know who's coming after this cat, but they got a heck of a road to carry. They got a heck of a pair of shoes to fill. You don't think it will be Democratic? Who do you think it's going to be, Carrie? Type there in the chat and let me know. Let me know what you think it's going to be. I don't know. Man, I don't know who would want the job. Do you think that it's going to be one of these governors? Oh, Lordy have mercy. Do you think it'll be Gavin Newsom, or did he say no already? Yeesh, that would be a nightmare. You couldn't guess? I don't know. You've seen our babies respond to air by hiding. Have you seen our babies respond to air by hiding? I heard it was about that would be a generation to say no to AI. Honey, let me tell you something. The whole AI piece, I don't know whether you were over or not, or you got a chance to hear about it or not, Carrie. But do you remember when I was talking about when I was dealing with the AI removal of all of these barriers that we originally had? There were some barriers that, believe it or not, the Biden administration put in to protect Americans from what the AI rogue situation would be. Did you hear me talk about that? Because even though I didn't care for the last dude, that made sense to me. I like that. What he just did, what our seated president just did, was removed those barriers and will allow it to train itself primarily. And I'm boiling everything that happened down to that sentence. It's going to allow AI to do what it does. And that's it. It's going to allow AI to do what it does. And they're going to put in a couple of barriers, but those barriers are going to be dealing with weeding out terms that deal with DEI and a few other things. Let me see if I can find that. It's like I've got to rummage around in my Felix bag of tricks. Oh, yes, absolutely, Mr. Leslie. Come on with it now. Come through. That's exactly it. That is exactly it. So I know that I did see a story, Carrie. Let me see. I didn't vote, but I didn't need to because I knew it was going to be Trump. And I do believe he is running his third term. Hmm. Hmm. Well, I'm going to say I would like to just leave that there. The Dems that are in Congress are suddenly quiet and low key. Yeah, they don't have to be. They don't have to say nothing. They don't have to say nothing because all of their bidding is being done. Every inch of their bidding is being done. That's why they don't have to. Everything they ever dreamed of is being given to them right now. And yeah, come on now. The puppet master just gets a new toy to parade in front of the crowd every 4 to 8 years. I agree. I agree. Oh, I hear you, Carrie. I really do. I hear you. I really do. Huh. That's why I got sort of quiet after I read it. That's why I got a little quiet after I read it, Carrie. That's why. Because I was like, okay, I see what type of time she on. I got it. I feel you. I feel you. Hmm. Um, all righty. Think that'll do it. All right. So yeah. So in any case, you guys, that's primarily, what I believe is wrong with what's happening. I think that, yeah, he's got a lot of people that's trying to lead him around the nose, and he has no choice because that's a lot of money. I keep asking everybody because I'm not really into it right now, but has anybody seen his daughter? The way that we've seen his daughter and the hairless that she married, um, walking around looking like Xerxes. Has anybody seen the daughter and Xerxes? Anybody? He looked like Xerxes out of the 300. I mean, he changed his look. My God, she's a Pete's. She's a Pete's. I can't believe he changed himself, but I haven't seen him. But then again, they're raging Democrats as well. So's he. So's he. Yep. Yep. All right, now I'm satisfied with the title. Yeah, there you go. Now I'm satisfied. I wasn't satisfied before because, like I said, I just wanted to bring that portion to you guys. Alrighty, updated it. Now I'll make a thumbnail later. Just got out of the shower and put the coffee pot on and decided, let me just talk to you guys. Yeah, that's him. Him. And yes, her. And I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him. Every country is going for bio-digital convergence, no matter their policies. They all lead there. Okay. Well, let me just ask you guys forget it. I'm just going to put some stuff on so you guys could see it. Maybe we've got some short ones here. That way you guys can check them out. Some of the things that we talked about, because I know that Carrie didn't get a chance to see some stuff this week. So I'm going to put some things on for you. And again, you guys, my week has been hectic. I know you all's has as well. I know you guys have had a heck of a week as well. And so that's why we are just going to go ahead and, recall some things that we put out this week, chill with each other. I've changed the topic. So it's just basically a recap is what we're doing so that folks don't come in and feel a little disillusioned, like, oh my God, she's not just talking about one thing. Well, I feel like sometimes that's all I do is come in and I'll say something for 7 minutes and then I'll bounce. And to me, that's not a worthy live. I go live on camera once a week. But I think that it's good to have a news roundup every Saturday. So what the hey, why not start at the top of the month? That's what I think. Why not? Why not just do it? Yes, just do it. Just do it, do it, do it. All righty. So let's see. What do we have? We dealt with this week I don't want us to go through a long one. I really don't, because then I'll have to have you up here for a long time, and I don't want to do that to you. I don't want to do that to you. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, that's going to be a long one, Carrie. And I don't want you to have to sit through. I don't want to have to sift through it, first of all, because you guys, you see me already plinking and plundering around. Plinkety plink, de plink, de plink. Right now, it'll be even worse. It will be even worse. Hey, you know what? But I do want to do this with you guys because I've got a stack of crap that I haven't even gotten through all the way. I haven't even gotten through all of it. And I want to go through it. So let me grab that, because that way I don't have to make the video about it if I just chat with you, because there's a lot of work that I've got that's sort of piling up on me. So here's what we're going to talk about. I do want to have a conversation about the trucking situation. Oh my gosh. Yes, indeed. I want to talk to you guys about that. I want to also let you guys know that we had a conversation about tradesmen a while back. There's another conversation that I wanted to have. I have some estimates for the need for tradesmen over the next 5 years. Now, this I'm still going to have to turn into a video, you guys, because I want it to be short, sweet, and concise, and then give you guys some links down below. Here's the purpose for this. Start to get your nephews, your nieces, your sons, your grandsons, and all of them involved in the trades again, because they have some estimates out there right now that say that The estimated need for tradesmen in the next 5 years, from 2025 to 30, is very high across the United States and much of the world, with a major shortage expected in nearly every skilled trade. And I have a breakdown for electricians. I have a breakdown for plumbers, HVAC, welders, carpenters. Now, unless they plan on turning us into Mad Max, well, but you never know. These are things that are going to be needed, including, now here's what I did not see, but okay. The heavy equipment infrastructure operators. Now, heavy equipment operators, the infrastructure bill that has the road projects and all that stuff. We have a bill that was passed just recently. And in that bill that they passed, there are a few people who can qualify to get some financial help with grants. So you're not going to be getting any loans, but there's some grants. You just happen to have no undergrad. Okay, it can't be just like an afterthought, like, oh my, I went to school for basket weaving, and that basket weaving did not work out for me. So now I think I just want to become an electrician. Let me just go over here and try this. No, there are a couple of rules and stipulations, but there's a strong opportunity for your loved ones to go into things like HVAC, welding, carpenters, all right, heavy equipment operators, mechanics, diesel and auto. So we're talking about combustion engines, line workers, all right, and the like. So I've got that. And tradesmen for this workforce development grant. Very important that if you're already, or you know somebody who's already inside of one of those programs, they can't double. They can take one or the other, but they will be able to get the federal Pell Grant if they can prove that they've been in this program that's already approved, if that makes sense. All right, so the programs that they're in must be accredited. They must meet outcome benchmarks, all that good stuff. And I mean, it's better to have your young man. Let me tell y'all what's really up. Here's what's going on. Listen, let's connect some dots, because you guys know I don't be throwing stuff out there for nothing. I'm gonna connect some dots for you right quick. So the situation that I threw up yesterday when I had to take the word black out of the title because it, for whatever reason, sort of short-wired people. We were looking at the 300,000 Black women who lost their jobs at the top of the year. My feeling and my concern was, in a prophetic way, I said that was going to happen a couple of years back. And I said that was going to happen because a lot of women were running around with their butts on their shoulders, acting like they were better than the men that they had chosen and putting the men down to the side. I said, what's going to happen in a minute is you guys really do love the government so much that you all have your government jobs. You got your government stipends for those who don't work. And what's going to happen is the government going to turn on you. Well, lo and behold, that 300,000 number is the reason why I wanted to make sure we talked about that. So now that those 300,000 women are just the face of what's about to come, because there's going to be more, there's going to be a lot more, unfortunately, they're going to need to turn back to the way that they're supposed to. If those women are able to turn around and get back with a good man, this good man is going to have these old school jobs again. We're taking a turn. We're going back to the beginning. We really are. And so that's why I'm saying, well, you know what? Forget about the heifers that don't want you. The ones that told you, I'm an independent Black woman and I don't need no man. Go let that heifer go on. But for the young men that you got that are nephews or whatnot that need a good job, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for them to be the reigning star again, the king. You know, I'm all for it. I want the man to be the king because I want strong leadership. If we don't have strong leadership, we've got nothing. So that was my point to bringing that up, to also show you, here's the connect the dots. They're not looking for anybody old. That's the reason why they say they don't want anybody with undergrad. They want it for the next generation. So somebody's thinking of something. What? I don't know. But is this maybe one of the things that Trump was able to slip in? You know, because sometimes they allow these presidents to come in and do what they want them to do, but say, okay, we'll break you up a couple of pieces. You can do something, push something in, get a little something for yourself. Get a little something for yourself. You see what I'm saying? So I'm thinking that's what that is. So that's the reason why I made sure I showed you guys that there are 300,000, unfortunately, women peppered all throughout the United States, especially in the Black sector. And what happens when you do not have a job, soul sister? Unfortunately, you lose that house. Unfortunately, you have the opportunity. If you cannot bounce back, and not all will, God help them. I hope some do, but not all will. You also can lose your car. You can also lose that highfalutin tuition that you were paying for that child to go to the private school. You lose a lot. So here's the deal. This is the thank you. I'm saying it publicly. This is the thank you from the individuals that created all of that mess when they created all the DEI conversation. And like I shared with you guys before, we're always using the blackface to push narratives on the United States that end up affecting all of us. So who did they use with the DEI purpose? They used the Black woman. After they were done using her, they dropped her like a bad habit. Why? Because we never needed the DEI crap in the first place. That was a fallacy. It was not a needed thing. We already have enough laws. We got more laws than the law allows. Okay? Okay, we had enough. We already have enough laws, more than the law allows, than the law would need. They all had those federal work jobs. Absolutely, Carrie. They were all working for those federally backed jobs. I never could understand why you needed all this DEI stuff. I had my certification with SHRM, and I'm not by any way shaking, hands with anybody or advertising for them, but we had courses that were available for us. And do you know I side-eyed them? I literally side-eyed them. Yeah. The DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I didn't even want to take it. I knew that it was going to be a tide, a passing trend, because you already have enough. You've already got, there's all these different, you got Title 7, you got Title 9, you got Title this, you got Title. You have the ADA, you have you've got all these different things that you got to cram down your brain to learn just to keep certification, to get your continued education credits, all the stuff that you got to know. So when I looked at that, I was like, man, this got to pass quick. I don't want nothing to do with any of this. I really don't. I even took some classes where I had to speed through. I was speeding through the online portal, trying not to have to listen to the mindless dribble that they wanted me to listen to. But it drove me bats. Now, I do have relatives, very close relatives that are, believe it or not, some are actual, diversity, equity, and inclusion coaches. They are. That's what they do for a living. So I'm not going to throw them under the bus and say their name because they may be listening right now. But that's what they do for a living, and okay, that's great. But what do you do when you go out and you buy, you bought a pair of purple shoes to match everything, and that don't work. Them purple shoes not gonna match everything, baby. You got it. You can maybe put a white skirt set with it one day, and then put a pair of purple. Maybe put you some amethyst jewelry on or whatever. But you can't rock that purple with everything. That job wasn't gonna go forever. That job was not going to go forever, and we need to have the men back. And we need our men employed. All right, we need our American young men employed. We sure do. We need our people employed. I am so tired of seeing us say that we don't have anybody here in the country to do X, to do Y, to do Z. And so what do? We go and come on over. We just brought more individuals in from the Philippines to do work. Why are we doing that stupid stuff? We don't learn as a country. This country does not learn. We've outsourced all of our fruits and vegetables, and now we all eating trash. You got all of these, people with their hands in the pot. And now that their hands in the pot, they're putting the peel and everything else on top of your avocado. You can't even find a good avocado unless you got a tree that you covered yourself to protect. Okay? They've got all of this. You can't get a good watermelon anymore. The watermelon tastes like rubber. I actually found a seeded watermelon. I was like, yes, it's seeded. But it tastes like rubber because it was like somebody had put layers of watermelon chunks in it that they had created, and it must have been grown somewhere. The food that we're eating right now is just straight trash. It's just straight garbage. Straight trash. And everybody that is in the government right now has been muzzled because they got beyond a door and they were like, what the heck did I walk into? I'm not saying that the RFK guy didn't want to do anything good. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that the man's testimony is that prior to walking through that door, he was doing a good thing. Prior to walking through that door, he had a worthy ideal. But there's something corrupt that happens once you walk through that portal. See, every door you go through is a portal. Before he went through that portal, he was doing a good thing. He needs to go backwards. That's what he needs to do. I don't even know who that is, Max Vision. You know, I'm going to tell you something. I'm a bit of a, I don't even know how to say it. I'm not a recluse, but I'm sort of like, you know, Bettina and I have that in common. We're both born in September, just like Monograph. All three of us are born in September. And we all have that way about us where we're not necessarily, we're extroverts in this setting, but we're not the person that's going to strike up a conversation. So we don't know everybody. We know who we need to know of, but we don't know everybody. I don't know who Tim Hortons, or is it Horto's Coffee? I don't know who that is. Tim Horto's Coffee Shops. Taj Mahort. I don't know who that is, baby. Does he have coffee? Is it a coffee? Is coffee shops? Does he have coffee for me to buy? Oh, it's like a Starbucks. See, I don't know what that is. I have 2 coffee pots and a plethora of coffee. I don't since I don't have a car anymore after having that car crash last year. And you know, after having that car crash last year, I haven't driven since August of last year. Yeah, so I don't know. And now that I don't have the car, it's even worse for me because I really don't get out. I get to the backyard, you know, I'll take the dog out in the backyard. I may walk up to the corner store. I'll come back down or whatever, but yeah, it's terrible. And now that I'm sliding into 61, I feel like, what am I going to do now? Yeah. So I'm sorry, baby. No, I'm not familiar with the coffee shop of one Tim Hortons, Taj Mahortons. It's like a Starbucks. Well, do they use the Washington-based coffee maker to create their coffee, or are they getting it from someplace else? Yeah, the coffee place is scary, Carrie. Oh, Carrie. The coffee place is scary, Carrie. Oh no, let me stop because I was about to start my little rap, and y'all know how I get. She's Carrie and Barry. She talks about what's scary. No, okay, I'm gonna stop. She's Carrie and she likes the berry. She talks about what's scary. Anyway, moving along. So okay, so the deal is I don't know who that is. It's not the coffee. The place is just not the coffee place, just the world. Yeah, it is. Everything is right now. But yeah, so let's just take a look at a little bit more stuff that we were having to talk about. Trump Media does invest in $2 billion in Bitcoin. The US President Donald Trump Media Technology Company has acquired about $2 billion in Bitcoin and related assets, underscoring his administration's acceleration's pivot toward cryptocurrency. The Trump family has increasingly aligned with the crypto industry through the new ventures, investments, and public endorsements in recent months. On Monday, Trump Media, the firm behind the Truth Social platform, announced the acquisition, saying that another $300 million in capital had been allocated to an options-based Bitcoin strategy and signaling that it may convert the options into crypto depending on the market conditions. The asset will be used to generate revenues and potentially acquire additional crypto assets. The CEO and president, David Nunez. Oh boy, isn't that rich? Isn't that sweet? Oh boy. So crypto now accounts, that was his comment, by the way. Let me just give it to you again. The assets will be used to, quote, generate revenues and potentially to acquire any additional crypto assets. The CEO and president, Devin Nunez said. Crypto now accounts for about 2/3 of the firm's $3 billion in liquid holdings. The purchase is part of Trump media's Bitcoin treasury plan, which involves buying and holding digital assets similar to how companies stockpile bonds to increase liquidity and financial flexibility. Trump media shares soared nearly 10% following the announcement. Trump, who placed his shares in an revocable trust managed by Donald Jr., maintains a major stake valued at around $2.3 billion. Now, I don't think he's getting paid again this time, is he? I don't think he's getting paid again. Sorry, you guys, I had to clear my throat, but I don't think he's getting paid this time either. I think maybe he's taking the bare minimum that he can take, I believe. So let's see here. Let's finish reading this. Once a crypto skeptic, Trump reversed course during the 2024 campaign, pledging to make the United States a crypto capital, the crypto capital of the world. Oh my God, man. I mean, you always want to be the best of the best, and you're dealing with a whole lot of things against you, my friend, like time. Like time. So they want to be the best in the world and to serve as its crypto president. That's what he wants to do. Since returning to the White House, he has backed several family-led ventures in the space, including World Liberty Financial, a decentralized finance project that has brought in $500 million since launching back in September of 2024. And as a part of the new strategy, the U.S. Strategic Reserve of Crypto Assets unveiled in March. Trump signed the Genius Act last week, and that's for the deregulating. Now, you know, some people were talking about the Genius Act, and they didn't know what the difference between what the Genius Act did and what the cryptos. It's all a part of the same party. Okay? As a part of the new U.S. Strategic Reserve of Crypto Assets unveiled in March, Trump signed the Genius Act, the country's first major law regulating digital currency. Critics have claimed that the overlap between Trump's crypto ventures and his political authority could result in widespread corruption. Trump media announcement came just weeks after Bitcoin hit the high, topping $120,000 a coin that you cannot see, reinforcing its position as the world's most valuable and widely held cryptocurrency. Analysts attribute the rally to surging institutional demand and a shift in U.S. policy under Trump. On Tuesday, it was trading at $118,395 a coin. Meanwhile, I can't even get Meanwhile, I can't even get my XRP to stay stable. I can't even get that to stay stable. What is it at right now? XRP right now is at it's time to buy it. It's $2.93. So if you didn't hear oh my God, it's time for me to go buy some. Yeah, I need to go buy some. That's what I need to do. That's what I need to do. Yes, that's what I need to go do. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I do know that the Trump coin was a complete flop. Everybody was all for it. Trump, 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 Trump in the very beginning before he ever made it in. It was like, oh, yes, this is wonderful. Look at this. He's got it. He made it. He made it. He's the president. He's going to be the president-elect. We got to go get his coins. Everybody run, run, run. They went to run on bottom doggone coins. And when I tell you those coins flopped, they flop like somebody that brought raisins inside of the potato salad at the cookout. They are not coming back, and that is that. Don't invite her no more. Who told her to put raisins in a potato salad? She can't come. She is not allowed back at the cookout. She's got to go. She's got to go. She can't come back no more. Yeah, that's it. Yes. 16,000 when we talked about the sanctions. 16,000 sanctions and Russia continues to move forward. This is from an American analyst. The unprecedented number of Western sanctions that's been imposed on Russia over the Ukraine conflict has clearly no impact as the country has adapted its economy, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis has said. Speaking on his YouTube channel on Thursday, Davis discussed the U.S. President Donald Trump's renewed push to pressure Moscow using new sanctions unless a peace deal is reached. Earlier this week, Trump slashed his original 50-day deadline for Russia and Ukraine to settle the conflict down to just 10 days. Now, let me ask this question. I'm going to pause reading here. I'm going to pause, but here's my question. Who are we? How do we get the right to, who are we? Why are we? I'm asking a question I know we don't have an answer to. I'm asking a question that you want to know the answer to too, huh? I probably shouldn't ask this right now. Is it a little too soon? You think it's too soon? It might be too soon, right? Can you imagine having such cojones that you go all around the world and tell people, you got 4 days to stop this argument. I'm going to give you 12 minutes to get off the top of that roof. I don't care if you're fixing the shingles on your own house. I'm giving you 4 minutes to get off that roof. I mean, who in the granny clampet do we think we are? This country is a mess. What is he doing? Who can come and save Americans from y'all with the stuff you're falling from the sky? And I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about just rain. I'm talking about all the stuff that you guys drop down the sky and call it, the chemtrails, the trash that you're putting down here. Yeah, I mean that. That's what I mean. Who do we have? Do we have anybody to call about the fake fruit that you're pushing out of the Walmart and out of the Kroger and out of the Trader Joe's and now out of the Whole Foods? Who do we have? Do we have anybody? Anybody? Do we got anybody? I got 1, I got 2, I got 3. Do we got 3? We got 4. Over here we got 5. We got 6. Do we got anybody to save America? Who do we got over here? Do we got you there? We got grandma? Do we got grandma? We got papa? Who we got? We ain't got nobody. We ain't got grandma. We ain't got papa. We ain't got nobody. Nobody to come over here and help Americans. But y'all in everybody else's business. Boy, I tell you, we are the Mrs. Kravitz of the world, Craig. We are the Mrs. Kravitz of the world. Let me get back to this because I just had to stop. I cannot believe it. Yeah, it's just like everything. Nanoparticulates that can make your dog bark or jump up on you and listen to whatever you're thinking. It sounds a little far-fetched, but who's to say it's not happening? Yeah, that part. Yeah, he says, I gave you 50 days, but it doesn't look like you're moving fast enough. So I tell you what, let me get a switch. This will switch your personality. Let me get me a switch. And I'm going to send you to go get a switch. You got 50 days. Go get a switch. And if you don't bring back one, that's a good one. I'm going to go out there and pick one myself and whip you with it. Now you go. And then, no, you didn't move fast enough. You got 10 days, buddy. I just shaved 40 days. You did it to yourself. Now, he warned that a failure to do so would trigger sweeping penalties. The new kid on the block that's only been here a couple of 100 years is going to tell one of the oldest countries that they got to do X, Y, or Z, including 100 tariffs and possible secondary sanctions targeting Russia's trade partners. That's why Trump got pissed off and upset about India, because they're not paying attention to your weak dollar and your weak mouth. They're not paying no attention to you. Nobody has no more respect for this country. Nobody's going to pay you any attention. You messing with the right one now. If it's the same dude that's supposed to be over there, you're messing with the right one. He's been sitting back calm and quiet while people have been throwing stones at him. He ain't said nothing. I'm not a fan, but I'm also not blind. And I can see if I'm standing to the side watching an argument or a conversation take place, and I'm looking at this cat sit back and take his this is how I imagine this dude, this Putin cat. Because, frankly, I love our country, but I also know what I can see. This dude is the cat that'll let a dude sit up there and just keep talking. I got a son like this. I have a son that's exactly like that. He will sit back and let a cat just talk. talk, talk, talk. And he'll just let the dude exhaust himself. He'll sit back in the chair and watch him. I imagine him with his little beverage in his one hand and his stogie in the other, but I doubt that he smokes anything. But if you can imagine me, let's walk down this lane. He'll sit back in his easy chair while you talking all your drama and all your mess. And because you see him not saying nothing, you just keep talking because you fear that you feel like he's not going to do anything to you because look at how relaxed he is. Then all of a sudden the cat just crosses his leg and he keeps letting you go. And he swirls his glass around. And then as soon as you get in his face to attack him, you don't have no clue how quick he knocked your butt out. You end up waking up, not realizing that it was after you went to hit him that he got you because he's not playing with you. He sized you up and he saw your weakness and he saw that all you was doing was running your mouth. And I got a son that'll pop somebody right between their eyes. He just lets the cat talk. He's been like that since he was a little bitty boy. This is the one I have to keep in prayer. You let a dude keep talking and sizing him up and looking to see where his weaknesses are. Next thing you know, the guy's on the ground. My son, I had to pull him off of people when he was a little boy. He just don't pick with him and don't pick with his brothers. I had to really keep that child so close to me. I had to keep him close to me. I called him my little bird because the next thing you know, he's on top of somebody. Why? Because the cat got sized up. Trump is going to get sized up because he's running his mouth. He's on that playground running his jibs. And there's a dude that's sitting back in the cut. Been there a long time. Got a little bit more wisdom. Can watch a little bit more. It's just like when you see them young boys go out and try to fight an older man. And you see him on the little memes and you see him on the little shorts. And all of a sudden you're watching a little clip and you see the older man sitting there minding his own business and the young man all in his face. I'm going to do this to you, old man. And I'm going to do that to you, old man. And the old man is sizing that little dude up. Next thing you know, you're going to get clipped. The wings will be snipped. We need to get this guy and hold on to him quickly, but I think it's too late. He's all in everybody's business. He's Edna every 5 minutes. He warned that a failure to do so would trigger sweeping penalties, including 100% tariffs and possible secondary sanctions targeting Russia's trade partners. Quote, one has to wonder on what basis President Trump still seems to think he can coerce Russia to come to the table, Davis said, adding that previous deadlines have meant little. Moscow has repeatedly said it remains open to talks, but that any deals must reflect the realities on the ground and address the root causes of the conflict. I don't think people are really remembering exactly what this stuff started, how this stuff started, what was really going on in that region. Are we so far removed that we don't remember what was going on and what that place was being used as a slush fund? Not only that, I believe that it's being used for other testing right now. I believe that that whole place, and this is just my mind and my opinion, and I could be wrong, but I believe that that's a testing ground. Because I remember seeing all these videos in the very beginning when this whole quote unquote war thing started over there. And there were people that had video cams sitting outside the building, sitting outside the houses. And nobody had nothing going on. There was nothing. And then I remember them showing all of the tanks and stuff that was all supposedly burned up and all this other stuff. But guess what? All the stuff they were showing was old and had some rust on it. Now, I'm not a scientist, but I do know that in order for you to have rust like that, it had to sit there for a minute because it's oxidized. So oxidation takes some time. It's not just, oh, we had a skirmish and this got pop, pop, pop. Now look at it. 2 days later, it's got some oxidation. 2 days later, you've got some rust. That's not how any of this works. So I do believe that the whole story that we've all been told, there's some truth muddled in with a whole bunch of lies. Yeah, there's a little truth muddled in with some lies. That's a problem. But nonetheless, you heard what Davis had to say. He said it's meant little. Moscow has repeatedly said that it remains open to talks, but any deals must reflect in realities. But why are we in it anyway? On the ground. and address the root causes of the conflict. Davis, a veteran of the Iraq and Afghanistan war, questioned how further sanctions or timelines could shift the current strategic picture. Russia, he noted, has adapted to years of pressure. Quote, all these Western sanctions, the 18 rounds, the total 16,000 measures the United States has imposed on Russia over many years, have clearly had no impact. Russia continues to move forward because it has largely made itself self-sufficient. Come on, Mr. Davis. Come on, come through. Come through, Mr. Davis. Come on, baby. That's the point right there. Ain't nothing you could do to us. You idiot. There's nothing you could do to us. We ain't depending on you. We've come inward for everything that we need. When you're inward for everything that you need, there is nothing that anybody can do to you. If you don't need nobody, for real, you can say what you want to say. You can impose all the threats that you want to impose. We don't need you for anything. While you were out there doing all that scuffling in the middle of the playground with your feet all looking like a rooster, while you were kicking up all the dirt, we were over here plotting and planning, baby. That's the same thing that China was doing and has been doing. Do not forget what China was doing during the pandemic. They were buying up grain. They were buying up all kinds of stuff for a storehouse. Why? Because that's what you do. That's what you do. You go inward to get your help. And that's really, now that right there, that was some bars. I just dropped some bars. I just dropped a few bars. You got to go inward to get your help. Hey, you better listen. Message, I just said something. Really? I'm not surprised, Sarah. I'm not surprised. But yeah. Hey, William. I see both my Williams here today, don't I? Yes, I do. Hello. William H. and William Smith. Hello. It's good to see you both. Zach Diecast, Monsieur. Hello. Max, I said hey to you earlier, and you, me, and Carrie, we've been in here having a good time. But yeah, you don't have to beg anybody for anything, and can't nobody hurt you. No one can make you afraid of anything, because you don't move nothing in my household. You don't pay nothing over here. I don't have to go outside for nothing. We have all the fruits and vegetables that we need. We grow our own. We have our own medicine. We do not use yours. We don't even like the way that you guys give medication to your people. We use sunlight. We use a lot of other stuff, but we don't deal with medication the way that you guys do. We're using, man, I can't even begin to tell you some of the stuff that they're using over there. It may seem like it's a little antiquated, but baby, it works. There's a lot of stuff that they use. We don't need you for fruits, vegetables. We don't need you for meat. We don't need you for grain. We don't need you for oil. We darn sure don't need your money. We don't need you for clothing. We don't need you for anything. So you can put all the tariffs that you want on us. It will not make a difference. You can tariff till you can't tariff no more. Just imagine if tariff was a dance with somebody spinning with a gigantic coat on, just spinning in the middle of the courtyard. Big coat. The coat is flowing. The coat is moving. The person wearing the coat is just really thinking that they are doing something. I'm giving you this tariff, this tariff, this tariff, this tariff. All of these tariffs, I'm giving you tariff. And then at the end of the day, the only person that ends up hurt is the idiot that was spinning around the middle of the corridor by themselves with that big ass coat on. That's the only person who was actually hurt. That's the only person that they thought that they were putting the tariffs against. Is not, nothing's happening. They're sitting back laughing. They having a brewski and they are cracking up laughing because you just fell out. You got so doggone dizzy, your rump fell out. That part. That's what it is. They have largely made themselves self-sufficient. Trump acknowledged on Friday that the new measures may prove ineffective, but confirmed his administration would move ahead unless a deal was reached. Who cares about your deal? You darn sure know what's going on over there. You knew what they were doing with that money. You spoke against what was going on with that whole situation over there. Now all of a sudden you're not only in it, but you in it to win it. You've given them all kinds of stuff. You have given them money. You have given them now more weapons. Because that right there is an extension of the dirty cats that's running this joint. That's why you don't hear no Democrats. Have you heard any Democrats that's against him giving money? If it is, it's all theater. Because according to Davis, it says, if the latest deadline fails again, Trump risks looking ineffective, having exhausted his political capital in the middle of the courtyard, twirling around with the coat on. He got a long coat, and as he's twirling around in the courtyard, that long coat is going, all it's doing is pulling up air. That's it. The Kremlin says that Russia has long grown accustomed to Western pressure, calling the sanctions illegal and counterproductive. Moscow maintains they have backfired on countries imposing them. The Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that over 28,000 sanctions have been imposed against the Russian companies and individuals, more than the total number of restrictions on all of the countries, all other countries combined. He stressed the measures have failed to destabilize the economy or isolate it. What do you know? What do you know? It doesn't hurt. Do what you must, but none of that hurts. You can't phase us. You won't. You won't. Well, I want to know, do you guys, what kind of cars does everybody drive? Have we looked at anything that's going on with the with cars or whatnot and how it affects us here in the U.S.? There are some little skirmishes talking about money and finance now, shifting just a bit. BMW, I don't know whether you knew it or not, but they report a 29% drop in their profits. Yeah, that's a lot for a car company like that. But then again, who got money to push one of those right now? I had one of those and I loved my car until one of the barbers at the salon smashed it. But I absolutely adored it. It was great. It was one of the best vehicles that I ever owned. And was great. If you could keep up you've got to be able to keep up the maintenance on those cars. If you cannot, do not buy it. But I had one. We kept the maintenance up. I loved it. It was awesome. But the German auto giant BMW has reported a sharp drop in the first half of profits as U.S. tariffs, weak demand are mounting competition from China took a toll on earnings. What does China have to do? What do they got? What kind of vehicle are they pushing on the public? You guys tell me in the chat. I want to see if there's anything that compares to these wonderful machines that are finely tuned so wonderfully. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I wasn't alone. The company posted a profit after tax of $4.6 billion, down 29% from the same period last year, according to a company report issued on Thursday. It marked the automaker's third consecutive first half decline. BMW said the United States import duties on cars and vehicles parts imposed by Donald Trump in April weighed heavily on earnings. The EU automakers are still digesting the new 15% tariff agreed upon by Washington and Brussels, which is due to take effect in August, this month, right now. The trade deal signed on Sunday has sparked backlash across the bloc, with some EU officials calling it scandalous and a disaster, saying it secured no concessions from Washington. BMW didn't disclose how much the U.S. tariffs cost in the first half, but warned that the trade-related charges could have 1.25 percentage points off of its automotive margin this year, potentially costing billions of dollars. CEO Oliver Zips welcomed the tariff deal, but cautioned that the duties still burden exports and hurt consumers. Right. Because now you got that lower grade car with the cotton seats or the regular, fabric seats jumping up in price. So it says BMW also flagged intense competitive pressure, particularly from China. Other German automotive giants reported even steeper drops. Volkswagen and Audi saw earnings tumble over a third, while Mercedes profits plunged more than 50% for those big old gigantic clunkers. Those are clunkers. What are they? Weren't they made at one point by Daimler Chrysler, but it wasn't the Chrysler that we knew of long ago? Those cars became clunkers, those Mercedes. It's like after you own it for 10 years or 5 years, just nice cars like that, you're supposed to have a nice car. 3-5 years driving down the road, it sounds like a bag of bolts. You got all this driving down the road. Who wants to do that? I've been in those vehicles and I don't like them. Now, that BMW, on the other hand, oh yeah, you're not hearing anything in the salon of that dude. You're inside that salon, it's all quiet. But anyway, 50% profits have plunged for Mercedes. The sector's downturn has fueled fears over the health of the EU's economic powerhouse. Germany endured a recession last year, and the IMF now expects zero growth in 2025, the weakest outlook among G7 nations. Okay, so he's putting a hurting on everybody. Now, hey, if that's what he, wanted to do, no, if that's what he wanted to do, then he did it. No, Diecast, my car was totaled out. They destroyed a lot of perfectly good vehicles called clunkers. Yeah. Okay, so Diecast says, let me guess, Felicia, insurance won't pay to fix your car. No, baby, my car was totaled. My car was totaled out. My insurance gave me like a little bit of change for my vehicle because it was an older vehicle. And yeah, they gave me a little change. And so the little change didn't do nothing but pay, but pay some bills. It didn't do nothing else. Wouldn't help me get a car. So that's the reason why I don't have a vehicle now. But so this cat here, he's going around doing everything with that big old coat. He doesn't have the what is it? Who is that? Who had the amazing Technicolor jacket? Who had the amazing, what was it? Who was the guy? It wasn't Jason. Was it Joseph? No, was it Joseph in the amazing Technicolor dream coat? It was a play back in the years, but it was about Joseph. I think it was Joseph. Jacob. I believe it's Jacob. It's Jacob. Let me come on your side and see what you guys say. It was Jacob. That's exactly what he sounds like to me. He's just in the middle with that coat and he's fanning everybody. He's just fanning everybody. That's what he's doing. But you know what I'm thinking about doing, Zach? What I'm thinking about doing is doing some, I don't know how to work it yet. We'll see. I don't know, but I do need to get a car badly. Oh, that's what I mean. They just don't pay to fix cars anymore. And that's what I mean. They just don't pay to fix cars anymore and pay out enough for total vehicles. Yeah, to help you get a new car. That's a total BS scram. You know what it actually is? It was Joseph. Okay, thank you, Max. Yeah, it actually is. And I'm going to tell you guys something. I worked in insurance for a little minute here the past few months back. And I'm going to tell you guys, there's some secrets that you guys need to know, which I know all y'all are smart. All of you guys are smart. There's some stuff that's going on with like insurance companies. That's amazing. Like somebody else used to live in your house and then all of a sudden you get a bill that your bill is raised up because somebody else who used to live in that house, not even a relative, name came up on a search when they did a DMV run or DMV pull. So they'll pull, and this is off the topic, but it's on the topic because it's our topic, because it's our show. It's our Saturday roundup. We're hanging out together. We can do this, man. So anyway, this is what's going on when you're dealing with the insurance situation right now. Some companies, not all, but some, are actually running the DMV for that house to see how it is, and they have people who have had an ID or a driver's license at that house. So what'll end up happening is they may send you some emails or some mail, but a lot of customers, what I found is that a lot of these customers aren't really paying attention to the mail that comes because they're just doing their auto pay or whatever. Their insurance is paid out every month, and when they get a little bill, they may think that when they get a little message from their insurance companies, oftentimes they may just think that it's an advertisement or something else is going on, right? Uh, they're like, yeah, I don't need anything else. They're probably trying to invite me to do something, or maybe my statement, but it's okay. I already know I have it on auto pay. I already pay it every month. Here's what you better start doing. Open up every piece of paper that any insurance company sends you to your door. I'm going to say that again. Any insurance company that you are doing business with, if they send you some papers, open it. If they send you an email, you better open it. Because what they're doing is they're adding that individual on your insurance and they're raising your rates effective the date you started the insurance. So in other words, if you started your insurance in January and then they run that address and they see that there's somebody else who used to live there, they don't know whether they live there or not, but they're sending you an email, they're sending you a piece of mail. That mail says, hey, we ran the DMV, blah, 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 whatever, and we've discovered that this person might live in this address. Now I'm putting it in layman's terms. I'm not even giving you the terms that they use. But we've discovered that this person lives there. We're asking you, do they stay here? Who are they? Da, da, da. You don't say anything, and they wait the amount of time, and then all of a sudden, whip out, that person's added to your insurance. Now your alerts are going up because that auto pay you had is not, $80 this month. It's a pure $383. And you're trying to figure out how did this happen? So what you do is you call the company and you say, hey, what's up? We were dancing nicely together. I come back to the dance floor after going to get a beverage. And when I get back, you're tripping. Well, what happened was I let you know a couple of times that we had somebody that we were trying to confirm whether or not they were staying here, and you didn't say anything. So we took your lack of response as a yes, and now we need $383. Now just let that sit there. And please don't think that I'm tripping. You've no idea while I was away how many customers called in with that as a complaint. You've no idea what else is going on. Yeah. If you guys are here, let me see you say something in the chat. Go on ahead and hit a 1 on the chat or a happy face and emoji. Okay. Put a happy face and emoji or something so that I can see that you're still here. I'm going to wait for you to do that. I'm going to play my friend. I don't get any money for this, but I just love Joe because he came to visit with us all the times you've ever seen him. I've never had to give him an honorarium. I've never had to give him a penny. He just loves me and he comes and he does it. So that's the reason why you'll always see his commercials over here because I love him as well. So let's get busy. Hey everyone, it's me, Felicia, of the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. I want to tell you a little secret. This is what I used to do because I don't do it anymore. I would go to the store, buy the barbecue sauce, pour it inside of a bowl, put a whole bunch of different spices, a dash of brown sugar, a dash of maple, and a dash of mustard, stir it all around, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best, this is the best. But I was exhausted after all of that, and a lot of times I couldn't remember how many dashes of what I put in it. But I don't have to do that anymore because now I just go to Judge Joe Brown's website and I order his 3-pack of bottled barbecue sauce. It is by far the best, and I do mean the best barbecue sauce I've ever eaten. And when you go to his website and you order his 3-pack, you'll see exactly what I mean. Head on over to jjbbbbq.com and order Judge Joe Brown's barbecue sauce. You'll be glad you did, and you're going to tell me about it. I know you will. Yes, my sweet dear friend. I'm so happy to have him in my life, and I'm very happy for those of you who have sent me messages and say that you, like me, enjoy that barbecue sauce. Because I'm going to tell you, it's the truth. If you've eaten it, it is the truth. You'll be like, oh, I am the hero. I'm the shero. I'm the hero. All you got to do is put the meat on the grill, smoke it if you'd like to, put the meat on the grill, it's going to start falling off the bone anyway, especially if you've already marinated it really well or smoked it. Then you can just brush his sauce right there on it. You can actually, after you've done your good job with that delicious meat, you can actually take that delicious meat, put it on the plate, and put the sauce heated just a little, set it on the side, and then allow everybody to add it to their meat themselves. Some people don't like it with a lot of sauce on it. Some people do. But when I tell you, you're going to love it. If you've already eaten it, you know just what I'm talking about. I know Sandy Aaron got some and she was like, oh man, that's good stuff, but it is good stuff. So I do love my friend. But nonetheless, I do see a couple of folks here have already put their ones in here. That is tantamount to theft. And you cannot calm a person down once they are listening to you say, well, we sent you X. You know what I would do, which is the reason why I can't work there anymore? I can't work there no more. I said, I got to go. Let me tell you something. This is what I would do. Say, Sarah, you would call, and of course you'd be visibly shaken at first, hi, my name is, Bob the Builder. How can I help you? Sarah goes, yeah, I don't know what's going on, but my insurance was supposed to be $80 a month, and now I got a bill for $383, and that's a very modest number that I'm giving you guys. I've seen people's insurance go up $3,000-$4,000 literally in a month. No BS. And so, Sarah, you say, I want to know what's going on. So let me put you on hold for a second. I start looking for changes. And after I see some of the changes in the account, then I go over here and I start glancing over here. And then I look in the mail because I'm looking everywhere that it could be, because I'm new to your file. So I don't know. So I start looking everywhere. And then I'm like, oh, dang, I got to tell her this. Let me tell you how I flipped the script from having to say, I'm sorry, ma'am, but it looks like you have somebody that lives there. Let me transfer you to this department. No, I said, hey, look, let me tell you something. Sarah, I see you got your bill set up already, girl, and it's set up for it to come automatically. And you'd be like, yeah. And I know you're busy because at the top of the conversation, you said you had some kids and you have a job and you got a husband and you taking care of everything. Sarah go, yeah. I said, girl, let me tell you something. Whenever you get an email or ever you get some mail from any insurance company that hits you up, they have to send you something by law. If you're getting it in the mail, it's because whatever it is has to be sent by law, which means it's not an advertisement, because they're not wasting paper for anything, especially if you've already signed up to receive all of your information via email. And if you guys are doing that, stop it, knock it off, quit sending all your stuff to that email. Get your stuff in your hand. This is why. So then she goes, yeah, I have been busy. Sarah goes, I have been busy. I have been really, really going, burning the candle at both ends. All right. So now this is how we're going to fix this. I'm going to do this. You're going to do that. And then I'm going to send you over here. You're going to make sure that you have all your documents in hand, and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. I'm going to execute this paper for you again. I'm going to send it to you. It's going to be executed as of today. I'm going to send it to you today. You're going to have to sign it. After you sign it, send it back, and let's get it rolling. Now, that will work with Sarah. Some people, it doesn't work. Some people don't want to do nothing. They want you to take it off post haste. And to tell you the truth, I understand. But I'm telling y'all now, be careful. There's a few other things you need to watch out for too. If you want to know, you can ask me and I will let you know. But I will tell you right now, don't be letting people monitor how you drive either, because you be sitting there thinking that's all it is. Oh, I'm getting a discount because they said I could put this on my car. I'm getting a discount. Yeah, okay. You ain't got no discount. The insurance industry has really come a long way. There have been so many different laws in the insurance industry that have been to set the consumer on the side of help. But in essence, it does not help you, because what they're doing is they're finding other ways to gouge you. Let that sink in. At first, we didn't need insurance, but somebody up in Washington had a brother who had a business who thought it would be great if you mandated this. So they mandated it. And after they mandated it, all the grubby little guys that are up there that decided, let's go ahead and vote for it. They got hands in pockets. Insurance is a scam. That is the truth. That is the truth. Don't let anybody monitor how you drive. Do you realize what that's really doing when you guys allow people to monitor Oh, you're going to get a discount if you do you know what they're doing? Please speak to me, because if you know, then I don't want to bore you with it. But if you don't know, then I'll tell you. That's how I feel. I'll tell you if you don't know. But if you do know, I'm definitely not going to bore you. All right. The reason why you definitely do not want them to monitor your driving habit is because, baby, that's not all they're doing. That is not all they're doing. If you're not aware of what LexisNexis is, please look it up. Yeah. Do not do the little drive and monitor things. Yes, don't do that. Oh, Zach, don't do it. And here's why you don't do it. Because I'll give you an example. There was a gentleman who was driving and he had a daughter who had autism. And the baby played with the phone. It was a way for her to soothe herself. She was about 7 or 8 years old. So the daughter's in the back seat. The father gives the daughter the phone while he's driving. She's all looking at TikTok. She's looking at YouTube. She's doing whatever little kids do. About a month later, this gentleman gets a huge, huge demerit. And he's like, why did my insurance go up? Well, it's because they did a rating and they said that while he was driving, he was um, streaming while driving. Let that sink in. Let it sink in. Not only that, if you're a person who drives for work, say you work third shift, maybe you work the 11 to 7 shift, and you get up every night and you leave the house at 11 o'clock. After that 11 o'clock time frame, before 2 a.m. or whatever, or say, for example, you just go out at 2 a.m. If you're working overnight or you're doing a late night shift and you're out past a certain time, you get hit for that. Yeah, you get hit for that. If while you're driving, somebody jumps in front of you and you apply pressure quicker or swifter than you thought, what they would consider hard braking, you're going to have it more expensive than that as well. If you decide that you no longer want that on your car, your bill is going to go sky high. If your wife has it on her car and she doesn't want it on her car, but you still have it on your car and she decides, I don't want this damn thing on my car, and she gets it taken off, you're going to pay more. I've seen people beg to put it back on. Okay. All right. I'll get off the insurance topics. I will get off of the insurance topics because it is sad to know that we are allowing people to be abused like this. We're allowing it. The country's literally, there's no help. There's no help. We're just allowing it. That's it. That's it. I don't know if I really. Okay, let me just do this part. Israel just drew a map without saying it loud. They just did it again because if you remember, there was a map already that was created in order for them to do what they're doing. Has anybody seen what Palestine looks like today? Has anyone seen what Palestine looks like today? Okay, let me show you what it looks like today. But first, let's hear exactly what Israel is doing. In a significant yet non-binding move, the Israeli legislature has overwhelmingly approved the declaration urging the immediate extension of the Israeli sovereignty over Jewish settlements in occupied West Bank and the Jordan Valley. The motion, which passed a vote by 71 to 13, was backed by right-wing and center-right factions, including Likud Shah's Religious Zionism, Otzma, and Is Yisrael Benitu, whatever that is. The text declares that the October 7th, 2023 attack by Hamas, that's a joke, referred to an Israeli political discourse as the Shimach Torah massacre. My God. Proves that the creation of a Palestinian state poses a mortal danger to Israel's existence. Here's a quote. The Knesset declares that the state of Israel has the natural, historical, and legal right to all parts of the land of Israel, the resolution reads. And it continues with, the Knesset calls on the government of Israel to act without delay to applying sovereignty over all areas of Jewish settlement in Judea, Samaria, and the Jordan Valley. This is not symbolic at all. Though labeled symbolic, Palestinian experts view the vote as laying the bureaucratic foundation for a permanent Israeli presence and governance in the West Bank, the heartland of a future Palestinian state as envisioned by international consensus. Saad Namur, a professor of political science at the Bizert University in the West Bank, told news companies the implications of the Knesset's move is far-reaching. This is not symbolic at all. It means that these settlements are now treated as Israeli cities. They are no longer occupied under military law. They're no longer occupied under military law. This is the legal and bureaucratic infrastructure of annexation. He continues with, the Israeli ministers, not the military, will now oversee health, welfare, planning, and infrastructure in these areas. It's not about theory, it's about bulldozers, budgets, and expansion. Dimitri Delani, a member of the Fatah Revolution Council, echoed that sentiment, saying, quote, to describe the vote as symbolic is a dangerously naive thing, he warned. In Israeli politics, symbolism is often a precursor to de facto annexation. While the Knesset's motion lacks binding legislative authority, it institutionalizes consensus in both government and opposition to expand the state of Israel's settler colony project with the new domestic political legitimacy. Delani added that members of the Knesset are already pushing legislation to replace the internationally recognized West Bank term with the biblical Judea and Samaria. They're going to hell. All of them going to hell. They're going to hell. Further entrenching the nationalists. I got to get off this article. They're going to hell. The stuff that they're doing, they are the ones. They the ones. They are the ones. They are the ones. That's them. They ain't them. They them. And I know you. You ones who say that you are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. He knows who you are. Many analysts see the vote not only as ideological, but also a tactical political maneuver to preserve Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's fragile governing coalition. Why did they let that man back in? Is there anybody out there that can tell me how did we go to sleep one day and wake back up and this dude was in there? It's clear. It's quite clear. This was a political exchange, said Namur. The leader of the National Religious Party, Religious Zionism, Bazel. Is it Bazalel? Either way it goes, it could be Beelzebub for all I care. So much, and the leader of the Utzma party threatened to leave the government if negotiations in Doha led to a Gaza ceasefire. This vote is Netanyahu's way of keeping them on board. By offering the far right a symbolic prize on annexation, Netanyahu appears to be stalling a government collapse, even as truce talks with Hamas continue under Qatari mediation. But didn't they create Hamas? I mean, it's like we always see people create their own boogeyman. They'll create a boogeyman and it's like, boo, he's out of the closet. But wait a minute, he's really your uncle with a hat on and a trench coat. Well, I know, but they don't know it. Oh, okay. Well, I'm scared. Boo, I'm scared. All right, good. Delani described the move as opportunistic, adding, it's designed to preempt mounting international legal scrutiny, particularly after the International Court of Justice advisory opinion in July of 2023, which declared Israel's occupation of Palestinian territory illegal. International condemnations without teeth. The reaction from the international community was swift but toothless. Jordan condemned the vote as a blatant violation of international law. The European Union and the Arab League issued similar worded rebukes, reaffirming their commitment to a two-state solution. Both the Palestinians analysts were unshaken by the lack of meaningful oh boy. They were unshaken by the lack of meaningful repercussions. It's like more of the same. Here's another quote. The historical record teaches us that the international consensus does not always translate into action. Israel's alignment with the key Western powers, particularly the United States, has only grown stronger. Even amid documented live-streamed Israeli genocide in Gaza and tremendous war crimes in Jerusalem and the rest of the West Bank, close quote. He cited the continued U.S. military support, which amounts to $3.8 billion annually in aid and has reached to nearly $20 billion in additional military assistance since the war on Gaza began October of 2023. Here's another quote. Israel continues to enjoy extensive trade privileges with the EU. Over 750,000 illegal colonial Israeli settlers reside in the West Bank, including East Jerusalem. Yet the response from the international community remains negligible, absent deterrent sanctions or accountability mechanisms. Israel interprets this as a tactic permission to proceed. Yeah, when you sit back and you don't do nothing, when you sit back and you don't fix the situation, they just think, all right, it's just more. Let's just go ahead and we're going to keep going. We're just going to keep going because nobody else is. We're going to stop us. Nobody's going to stop us. Demir was equally scathing when he says Israel went into this decision with an overwhelming majority in the Knesset. In the Knesset, is that what that is? The Knesset. Sometimes, you guys, because I have neurological issues, I don't even stop to go fix the word. I'll just continue to mull it because it gets exhausting. But nonetheless, the word is it Knesset? Knesset, or is it Knesset? Either way it goes, the overwhelming majority in the K word, that means they don't care about the international community's opinion. The EU witnessed with their own eyes the genocide in Gaza, the use of hunger as a weapon, and they still don't take any action. If there's no punishment, it's interpreted as agreement. So now they feel they have the green light, and that's the problem. For us to sit back and say that they are right in what they do because we believe, or some believe, that they are God's chosen people is really sad, because that means that people are really truly not studying what the Bible does say. That's what's sad. Because if you're not studying what the word says, then you don't really know who these people are. If you were to study and see what the word says and see the attributes of the children of Yasharal, if you were to see what those attributes are, you would without question know that these individuals are not them. They have specific issues that don't have nothing to do with what we're seeing here. First of all, this is one of the richest places on the planet. The people themselves make a whole lot of money, even when they're in a different land. That's not what the Bible says they're supposed to look like. They're supposed to be broke, po. Every time they try to get up to get back, they can't. They can't even pay the boss to be the boss, like James Brown. That's the real people, not these people. And that's what makes it sad, because people will want to do what God says so bad that they refuse to go and study and learn. You see what I'm saying? They refuse to go study and learn. They refuse to see that the attributes of the children of Yasharal are not these attributes. And the one big pivotal piece that you will know is when I pulled up that deed and when I pulled up the fact that they had purchased that area and that it was by the Rothschilds' hands and it was by the crown, when I pulled all that up and I shared that with people, that was tangible, real evidence. That wasn't something that I just thought up. That's why I brought the documentation that we could find online to you to let you all see it. But that tells you that this is out of order because even in the Bible, if you go by the Bible, Yah said himself that he was going to bring his children to a place. He was going to take them and put them where the land was. They weren't going to do it themselves. And so now when we continue to buy into this as a reason for us not screaming in horror when we see the atrocities that are taking place, don't think that the Most High does not see the blood of humans, the souls of humans leaving their bodies, the spirits of humans leaving in large amounts. Don't think that he's going to sit back and take this. He's just allowing it to mount up a little bit. And baby, when I tell you it's going to hit and it's going to hit hard, it ain't going to be pretty. It ain't going to be pretty. Maybe if we were to start to cry out some, maybe it would help move things along. But for the amount of people who are so entrenched with this, believing that this is the will of God, it is so sad. It's sadistic. It's sadistic. I've never seen, yes, I have. I can't say that. Yes, I have. Because I remember when I was in actual Christendom, and I remember whenever I would have to go and speak or I would have to go and teach, the people would not seem to care about the attributes of what it was we were supposed to have in us to help us to walk right. A lot of people like to use the excuse, well, we're all human and we're going to make mistakes. So I know what the Bible says, but that's what they were saying. That stuff, we can't keep that stuff going. Is it that we can't keep it going or that we don't want to do it? Because there is a difference. Doing the will of the Father and not being able to keep it up because it can't be done. Which one is it? If he tells you to do X and you want to please him, why don't you just do X? Why are we allowing this to go on in his name? Don't we have any shame? None. But yet, just like this writer said, they have the backing of the United States. And when you have such large global, Western help, that's a problem. Yeah. Israel functions as a strategic Western colonial stronghold in the Middle East, it ensures that violations of international law are overlooked. And unlike Russia, which is, constructed as a threat to the Western order, the biggest threat I feel to us is not the boogeyman that they've always painted. I really feel like it's Israel. But that's because they're all an extension of this right here. They are that. This is them. Everybody in Washington is them. Delaney added that the allegations of anti-Semitism are strategically deployed to shield Israeli actions from critique. Absolutely. The same way I taught you guys was dealing with the word black. And, if you say anything about these black folks, you're going to be considered a racist. And even though you know that what they're doing is absolutely wrong, you're going to be considered a racist. If you're a white person or a person who looks, of European descent, you're going to be labeled a racist if you speak out against what you see as wrong. But because you see the person as brown, you don't want to stand up and say what you know is right because you don't want to be considered a racist. And you're not a racist. You are not a racist. You're just saying this is wrong. And I don't care what face you use on your poster to push or promulgate your trash. I don't agree with it. And that's why you got to stay that way. You've got to stand that way all the time. Be very quiet Listen to the person do their rhetoric. Listen to them shake their head and, watch them shaking their head and stomping their feet and putting their hand on him. Let them do all of that. And at the end of the day, take it right back to the topic. The bane of my contention at this point is the fact that I don't agree with X. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin or anybody else's skin. This is not right. Point out what it is that's not right. That's not right. I don't care who you are. You can call me anti-Semitic. You can say whatever you want to say. But I do know that watching children starve to death, mothers who cannot nurse their babies, that's not right. You can say that. Sure, you can. You can say that because it's not right. People running around, but you see, I believe that the shroud is coming off a lot of folks' eyes because a lot of people have got to be saying this ain't, this ain't cool. You may agreed and said that the double standard is the slogan, the unspoken slogan of international diplomacy. Deal with Israel differently than they deal with Russia or China because Israel is a part of the same imperialist and capitalistic society they belong to. He called for a global reassessment of the post-World War II international legal framework. Quote, all these laws, including the United Nations and Security Council, should be under review. The system is broken. The U.S. veto can block any decision against a country like Israel, its favorite ally in the region. So what comes next as the calls for Palestinian action? What's coming next? Well, both experts believe that the consequences of the Knesset vote extend far beyond diplomatic rhetoric. For the Mirror, it should mark a turning point for the Palestinian leadership. There's no more leadership over there, baby. This decision affects all Palestinians. The two-state solution is not only behind us, it's officially dead. The law blows up the Oslo Agreement. Signed in the 1990s, the Oslo Framework laid the foundation for limited Palestinian self-rule under Israeli oversight. And I would love to tell you what that looked like. A compromise meant to pave toward a two-state solution that now appears conclusively buried. Namir called on Palestinian Authority to take immediate concrete steps, beginning with the ending security coordination with Israel, a practice long criticized by Palestinian civil society as a collaboration. If Oslo is dead, then why should we keep our part of it? The Palestinian Authority must immediately stop all security cooperation that would send a strong message. We need to unite, front, Fatah, Hamas, all factions to strategize against this existential threat. For decades, we had two paths, negotiations under Oslo or the resistance. Now the Oslo path has been closed by Israel itself. Now, Hamas was created just like a lot of other things are created. A lot of these boogeymen are created. It's the Hegelian dialectic. They got the problem, then they got the response, and then they have the solution. That's what this is. But they said that they're not going to deal with any more theoretical annexation, he said. This is the normalization of apartheid and settler colonial domination with legal mechanisms to enforce it. Palestinians must now focus on building grassroots resistance, mobilizing international civil society, and dismantling the myth of Israeli democracy. This is sad, but it's the truth. And I don't know how we've allowed that cat over there all those years to do what he's done. That's all you got to do. That's all they have to do, Sarah. That's all they got to do. If they just read the book with another pair of eyes, with a fresh lens, evangelical Christians help them in ushering. Yeah, Isn't that a mess? That they're oh, look at that, Zach. Evangelical Christians help them in ushering in their Antichrist in order to make Jesus come back sooner. That's literally the gist of what they believe. Wow. Oh, Zach, I'm going to put that there for a minute. Just leave that there for a second. And if anybody sees this and gets upset, analyze what he's saying. That if you analyze what Zach is saying, it's really going to make you stop and think. Because if you stop and think, you'll see that there's truth in that. I want you to understand that if you just go to the book, go to Deuteronomy and just start to read it. Just go and tell me the attributes. Tell me what they look like as far as their, physical view, what people are, how you would know it's them. Are they rich? Are they poor? Are they X, Y, or Z? And if you start scratching off stuff and checking off things and it's none of that, then that should tell you right there that's not them. And even if it were them, do you think that we serve a God who's so schizophrenic that he would allow people to be slaughtered like this? A people who were already monitored? A people who were already monitored. I want to go back up to this little piece that I had just read. Okay. This decision affects all Palestinians. The two-state solution is not only behind us, it's officially dead. The law blows up the Oslo Agreement, signed in signed in the 1990s. The Oslo framework laid the foundation for limited Palestinian rule under Israeli oversight. Let me tell you something. It says a compromise meant to pave the way toward a two-state solution that now appears to be conclusively buried. The Israeli oversight, Palestinian self-rule, limited Palestinian self-rule under Israeli oversight. Bingo. There was a there was a fence that divided, huge fence. They were, oh, that's the movie. They were like that movie, the Whatchamasism with Jim Carrey, the one that I quoted the other day. Okay, the one that I quoted the other day. The Truman Show. That's exactly what they were. The Palestinians were like the Truman Show because they were inside of this world that was controlled. And they were watched every moment, every day. Even the people that were getting up, just going to the grocery store or getting up, going into the workforce, they were watched because there were people that could see them on the cameras. And the fence that divided them from Israel was monitored all the way down to a mouse being, X amount of meters away from the fence. They had cameras everywhere. They had the guys up on the towers. They had all of the above. They were watched night and day. They were on, they had to be in by a certain time of day, certain time of night. They had things shut down, which is why I found it very curious that everybody would believe that they would have the wherewithal to land somebody overhead and let them drop down in there, because they would have been wiped out, because they used to shoot at them for sport and still do. Anyway, all right. 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 All right, so let's see what else we got going on today. In other news, pretty bad. Pretty bad. Let's see what else can we see. I don't want to talk about any more Obama. That's fine. Is there anything great to talk about? Is there anything good? Huh. Oh, wow. I don't know. We'll have to see if there's anything good to talk about. Let's see. America, we have such amazing things that we deal with. Like, oh, I know what I do want to talk about. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I'm going to talk about this. And let me put it out here right now. I believe this dude set himself up. When did she file this? 17 hours ago. As if he's not in enough trouble. Let's watch this together. Because I didn't know this had happened. Alleging falsely claimed that she was divorcing after her viral. Oh, that's the money she's trying to get. Okay, I want to talk about Shannon Sharp. I want to talk about him losing his ESPN money, baby. I want to talk about Shannon Sharp. I want to talk about him. And I know that this is not a sports channel, but baby, when I tell you I want to talk about this dude, I want to talk about this dude because he is a classic midlife crisis type cat. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't just go buy the red Corvette. No, he couldn't just go do that. He couldn't just go, buy him some jet skis or something that, made him feel like he wanted to take danger. Whoa, take it by the horns. Whoa, no, he didn't do that. Shannon Sharp had to go and break all the rules. All the rules after he was warned by many people who sat on his couch. Shannon Sharp lost the bag. He fumbled it desperately because the ESPN money, baby, was like good money, right? But after he did what he did to that young lady, he got what he deserved, period. Shouldn't have been dealing with that child anyway. He should have left that little girl a long time ago. He shouldn't have been bothering her in the first place. I don't care that she was OnlyFans and that she was offering it or that she was giving it away. I don't care. He had no business dealing with that young lady in the first place. And he was warned by Cat Williams. He was warned by the likes of, what is her name? She is the plus size lady with her pretty self. Monique, honey Monique even told him, she said, baby, you need to get you a little fat gal. She told him, you need to get you a big girl who can cook. That's what you need to do. And you need to leave these young girls alone. They warned him. Both of them warned him. And he continued. And now the money is gone. He would not pay $30,000 for his daughter's wedding. But what did he do? He showing up paid that chick that money. Oh, yeah, he paid her. So I do want to look at Shannon Sharp. And I also want to see that there is a new lawsuit that was filed by some woman because if you guys, you may or may not remember, you may or may not even care. But then again, this is Saturday Roundup and we're just chilling. You guys may not remember, but there was a woman who was at a concert with Usher. And what Usher does, I think he's got that thing out there in Vegas now where he has this concert. It's like a continuous residency. And he had a concert and there was a woman that got up like so many other women do. And I guess they got a little close or whatever. And Ocho Cinco and Shannon Sharp allegedly said that she was headed to divorce court. So here it is. He's in more trouble. He's got more stuff going on. Yeah, he doesn't know when to stop. And apparently this is a problem because it would appear that the defamation lawsuit against it says Chicago woman files a $20 million defamation lawsuit against Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson, better known as Ojo Cinco. But the deal is she should have been did this because baby, that girl got that money and gone. I don't know where you think that money coming from because their YouTube channel, I mean, we make it well, I don't know what they make. I don't know what they make, but I know at best you're going to get $100 a month before you even get a draw from YouTube. So I don't know what money you're getting, but good luck with that. Let's see what they're talking about. Are we going to get a commercial first?
I taught for 20 years, but
Eddie
I
gotta
started
say
forgetting my
something.
lectures.
Eventually, he had to quit. The early Alzheimer's diagnosis
What
allowed
is
us
this?
to take control of the situation.
Us?
If you or your family notice some symptoms, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing.
That ain't Alzheimer's. That ain't the problem they got. They got another problem.
So, in London, put this local woman all over social media. Remember this? Well, now she is taking 2 former NFL stars to federal court. Tia Ewing sat down with her to talk about the lawsuit and the claims she says crossed the line.
This is the video that took off on social media. Tillman, a Chicago native, took a business trip to London. That's when she learned Usher was in town. That moment turned into entertainment news all over the world. We sat down with her in April, and she made one thing clear.
I am not married. I am very single, ready to mingle.
And this lawsuit, Tillman says 2 former NFL stars turned podcasters did run with the wrong story.
I think that they should fact check any information that they're claiming about anyone. Just throwing the word allegedly in does not get it done. Do the due diligence.
Tillman's civil suit was originally filed in Cook County Circuit Court on April 24th, just 4 days after another lawsuit was filed against Shannon Sharpe, accusing him of sexual assault, a case he has since settled. Late last month, the suit that Tillman filed moved to federal court in Chicago, alleging libel and defamation. She says on April 12th, Sharpe and his co-host, Chad Ochocinco Johnson, recorded an episode of their podcast Nightcap, where they falsely claimed she was married and going through a divorce after her viral appearance at an Usher concert, implying that she played a role in the breakup.
I think that there needs to be changes at a federal level that is regulating these streamers, these podcasters, and all of these people that are calling themselves news media outlets that are monetizing false information that most people may not have the courage to stand up for themselves. And I say no more.
This screen grab shows the YouTube episode has since been set to private. Tillman says she tried to contact the podcast host and their company directly to correct the record, but received no acknowledgement or retraction. She says it's impacted her life as the director of the Harold Washington Cultural Center and a homeschool advocate.
Oh, that's what it is. She must be one of them. Well, let me shut up before she come after me, and I'm not going to be sitting up windmilling with this heifer. All she needed to do, because she's a plant, that's basically what she is. She's a plant. And I'm saying, I think this lady is not a real person. I think this lady is being, maybe helped. Because the truth is that this is just another way for them to use that face of a human being, even if it ain't her. That's just another way for them to silence people that they don't want to have a voice. Now, I don't agree that Shannon Sharpe or Ocho Cinco should have done that. I believe that if they were knowledgeable of the information that this lady was not married, that it then would have been, fair and equitable for them to say, hey, we're sorry, ma'am. We didn't mean that, to come back on and say, you guys, I made a mistake. This lady's not married and she's not going through a divorce. And then they could have dealt with their producers and say, where did you guys get this information? Oh, it's not true. Maybe it was the other lady, because I know there was a woman and it wasn't her. It was not her. It was a totally different woman that I remember was at an Usher concert, and there was some problems and some complications because of that. But the truth of the matter is Ocho Cinco and Sharpe should have retracted that if they had knowledge that this woman was not married. But anyway, moving along, it's pretty sad that I cannot find one story dealing with the firing of Shannon Sharpe that is not monetized already by somebody. But what I will tell you is, yes, as you know, ESPN got rid of him because he was accused of doing some stuff that he shouldn't have been doing. And not only that, but even though it did not go to trial, Mr. Busby, the attorney of the young woman who was alleged to have been harmed by him, got close to 20 some odd million, several millions of dollars from him. But this goes to show that when people get into this business world, this, arena of entertainment, they don't know when to stop. They just don't know when to stop. They just keep going. And he was warned. They get that money, and the first thing they got to do is they got to go get a woman. They got to go get fine cars. They got to go get all this jewelry and every stuff and all this other stuff. There was also something that said that he allegedly had to pay out his Yeah, I did read this, but I saw that he actually had to pay his former wardrobe person, the guy who was going everywhere with him, that was seen all over the ESPN with him, that he had to pay this guy too, because there was some information they said that he had, and I don't know, but the whole thing stinks. The whole thing stinks. All of this is Hollywood, political, government, entertainment, sports, all of that stuff is, though, that is the elite. And they're not elite because they're better than, they are those that hang out in the sky. Yeah. That type of elite. Okay. So yeah, it's not a good look, but that's what happened. And he doesn't have that job anymore. And I just hope for his sake that he's able to make it do what it do on YouTube, because that one thing that he did with Cat Williams at the top of, what was it, last year or this year? At the top of last year, homeboy made some money off of that video alone. That thing went more than viral. And I don't know whether you know it or not, if you've seen it or not. Okay. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all go on and have a good day. It's what, 9:27. So for me here in Alabama, it's 9:27. I do have some more stuff that I'd love to talk to you guys about. And if you want to have a conversation about any specific topic, why don't you, before we leave, throw it here in the chat? Let me pull it up and we'll read it together. Let me give you my idea of what it is and what it ain't. And that will be good. Any topic that is within reason. I mean, we've talked about a lot of topics that people, don't necessarily want us to hear. Oh, wait a minute. China, Panama backs lawsuit against the sale of the canal. What is this? Oh, it's behind a paywall. I don't want it. I wouldn't give you 10 cents. I can't give you 10 cents. I can't. It's not, I wouldn't. I could. I don't want to pay you for news that's out here that I can just read. And you know what I miss? Here we go. Here we go. Back down memory lane. You know what I miss? I miss the days. How do we go from 15 to 14 in less than a second? A freaking split second. Everybody do me a favor. Give me a 1 in the chat or give me a thumbs up so that I can see you're here. If you've not hit that thumb up button, hit that thumbs up button, because I'm monitoring all of my stuff. Because I had a long conversation with YouTube. A long conversation the other day that went around and around and around. And it felt like it would never end. It really felt like it would never end. So let me see what the likes are. I have to go inside and undo them. Yeah. But nonetheless, it's been really an arduous task. I don't even know why. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. I don't know why they would want me to be quiet. Who am I? Just a little old lady. Really? I'm just a little old woman. How would I be a problem? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Yeah. Yeah. Why would I be considered an issue? I don't understand. Do you? I mean, I try to be nice. Unless, I'm not. But for the most part, I try to behave. So why would they block this channel? Anybody? Anybody? If you guys are making comments, they're not letting them show. I see that we have 13 people here on this side and 12 thumbs up. I see that. Yeah, that's what it shows. It shows we've got 12 likes, which is awesome because it does show that at least it's 100% of the people that are here. So now I have 13 live viewers and I have 12 likes. But I have to watch this stuff, and that's sad because I'm not shaking my butt. I can see if I was out here shaking my butt or dancing or something like that, or I get more scrutiny than a what's her face video, that Cardi B chick. I get more scrutiny than Cardi B, or the other one that was dancing for the DNC. Then Meg the Stallion. Child, they let Meg the Stallion and the other girl get up there and talk about their in between their kneecaps and hips. In between their kneecaps and waist, they let them talk about all of that down there, all of that real estate down south. They get to talk about everything. between the kneecaps and the waist, and they don't get no problems. But baby, you start telling the truth with your opinion, and all of a sudden, honey, you're gonna have some issues. I said, we're gonna fix you. We're gonna fix you. You're gonna get $100 if you get that every 3 months. But if you want to poison the youth of America, baby, they got some Skrilla for you. They got some money for you. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay, earthquakes in Russia. All right, I got one person wants to have a conversation. I miss America too, Sarah. All right, earthquakes in Russia. What else is another topic? It's all just hopeless. See me to this and sunshine. That's right. So earthquakes in Russia. Max, did you already see the earthquake coverage that we talked about the other day? Let me know if you've not seen it. If you've not seen it, then we'll go ahead and play it here. I'm waiting for you to respond. As soon as you respond, I'm going to go ahead and move forward. You just let me know. You just let me know. Are you speaking? Yeah, that's the question. Have you already seen our coverage on the earthquakes on this channel? Because I know that everybody does not get the same notifications. Here's why I say that. I will put out a video and only the same set of people will respond to that video. Then I'll put out another video and it's another set of people that respond. It's almost like they've taken all of the group of people and divided them in chunks. See what I'm saying? Do you guys see that after all the coverage that we had on this and this poor baby didn't get a chance to see it? You see that? So that's why I'm saying they parse it out to 10% of your viewership. If you're not shaking your blue thing, if you're not shaking your butt, if you're not shaking it on down or passing it around or anything like that, yeah. Yep. If you're not doing anything like that, then you got a problem. All right, so let me go ahead and give these to you, dear. I'm going to play these just for you, sweetie. All right, so I'm going to start it from our the first one that we put, then the second one that we put, and then we can move on from there. I'm going to put the first one because that one's the shortest. That's what I'm going to do because that's a short one. But you know, those numbers changed so much. Yeah. That's because Max, they're like that because they're like that because they do not have screen sharing was canceled. Okay. They're like that because they only give 10%. So it's like 10% is in this cluster, 10% is in that cluster, 10% is. I would love for everybody to just email me and give me their email address so that I can put you on a list and then send you a notification and let you know, hey, I'm live. If I could do that, that would be outstanding. That would absolutely be great to do that. So let's just go ahead and play this first video just for you. And I'm going to back it up some because I had already viewed emergency response procedure. On Wednesday morning at approximately 11:30 a.m. local time, a powerful earthquake struck off the eastern coast of Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula, prompting a tsunami warning across the region. Russia's Ministry of Emergency Situations measured the quake at a magnitude of 7.0, while the United States Geological Survey, or the USGS, reported a stronger reading of a magnitude 8.0. The quake's epicenter was located at about 90 kilometers off of the Kamchatka shoreline at a depth of roughly 100 kilometers beneath the seabed. The Kamchatka branch of the Geophysical Survey under the Russian Academy of Sciences confirmed the seismic activity and initiated emergency response procedures. Authorities issued a tsunami warning shortly after the quake, urging residents in the affected coastal districts, including the Ust-Kamchatsky, to evacuate to higher ground as a precautionary measure. There were also some talk of the area for the Pacific tsunami warning to include Hawaii and the Alaska's Aleutian Islands. Kamchatka is a part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, highly active, a very highly active seismic zone encircling the Pacific Ocean, making it prone to frequent earthquakes as well as volcanic activity. The current tsunami alert remains in effect for Russia's Far East, though there are not really any larger international tsunami warnings, with the exception of those that I just mentioned. The residents have been advised to remain in safe zones and await official updates. I find it ironic that this just happened when we just heard from our president here in the United States that he had given Russia 10 days from today. Okay, he said on his plane. And then he continues with, and then, we're going to put tariffs and stuff. I don't know if that's going to affect Russia, because he wants to obviously probably keep the war going, the president adds, seemingly speaking about President Vladimir Putin. And then he continues with, but we're going to put on tariffs. We're going to put on tariffs and the various things that you put on. It may or may not affect them, he says, but it could. So now we have the earthquake. And I find it very curious that we have upgraded the original number that the seismologist there in Russia has given. They said 7.0, but America's, the geological system that we generally use here, put it at 8.0. So hopefully there'll be no casualties, but I don't think they're really going to find out anything until after they've done, their once around to make sure that everybody's okay. All right, so I just wanted to bring you that. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I am Felicia Lockhart, and this has been the Lockhart News Brief. Well, I'm going to tell you where it started, and then I'm going to tell you where we are today. A few days ago on Truth Social, President Trump branded former Russian President Medvedev a failed former leader and warned him to watch his words, because the former Russian head of state mocked the nervous reaction displayed by Trump, suggesting that it only proved that Russia is doing everything right and will continue to proceed along its own path. Now, where are we today? Well, where we are today is President Trump has just announced his decision on his Truth Social platform, condemning Medvedev's comments before, the ones I just read, as highly provocative statements, and claiming that words are very important and can often lead to unintended consequences. Now, here is what Trump has done. He has ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in appropriate regions there in Russia, just in case, he says, these foolish and inflammatory statements are more than just that. That's what President Trump wrote. Trump has lately been in this locked, bitter war of words on social media with Medvedev, who currently serves as the deputy chairman of Russian Security Council. While the president did not elaborate on his announcement of the military response, apparently it relates to the post that was made by the Russian politician yesterday, July 31st, 2025. Now, there's another comment, and Medvedev wrote, quote, and about India and Russia's dead economies and entering very dangerous territories, well, let him remember his favorite movies about the Walking Dead, as well as how dangerous the fabled dead can be, Medvedev wrote. The letter remark referred to the legendary Primet, I think that's what it is, system dating back to the Soviet era, and presumed that it still exists in Russia. The autonomous system is believed to be an apocalyptic dead man's switch, capable of firing the surviving nuclear arsenal at once in a scenario where the country was hit by a devastating first strike that eliminates its leadership and breaks the chain of command responsible for ordering retaliation. I guarantee you this is not the cat you voted for talking. I guarantee you that this is somebody else who's running around like they always do, sticking their nose in everybody else's business, effing with other countries. And inevitably, we end up holding the bag. So whether or not these comments were definitely made by Trump, or if he was being a puppeteer by another region, another country, another prime minister, or another president, is of no consequence, because the American people will be the one dealing with the fallout of all of these play school threats. Somebody needs to check your boy. For Headlines with a Voice, this has been the Lockhart Perspective. All right, so now let me tell you why that is concerning, that he would now send those submarines to that region. Because in 2023, and I thank one of my very good friends for even bringing this to my attention, in 2023, Russia's newest nuclear submarine was set to move to a permanent Pacific base in August of that same year. The Russian Navy's newest nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine will move to a permanent base in the Kamchatka Peninsula in August. Russia's TASS news agency reported on Wednesday as Moscow steps up its Pacific military presence. So that's in that whole ring of fire. That's where that is, and that's where our, submarines are now. I believe it's called the Generalissimo Surovo, which entered service at the end of 2022, carries up to 16 nuclear-tipped Russian Bulava missiles, each of which can carry more than one nuclear warhead. The submarine will make an inter-naval transition from the Northern Fleet in the Arctic to the Pacific Fleet in August, and the state news agency, of course, has reported that the transition will be carried out along the Northern Sea Route, including a submerged position. Russia has been boosting defenses in its vast far eastern regions bordering Asia Pacific, accusing the United States, let me clear this little thing out here, accusing the U.S. of something. I can't see the rest because I'm not paying to read this. But anyway, that's that. So yes, as that's the reason why I found it very curious that all of a sudden this is what we have to say. We're going to move over there, and that's that. So it carries up it has all of that. And listen, the main country that's got the nuclear stuff is Russia. We've got some, but so does Russia. China got some, but so does Russia. Why are we bothering anybody? To be honest with you, when everybody got their pum-pums in their house, ain't nobody coming in nobody else's house. It's the ones that don't have it that's going to get taken advantage of, especially don't nobody know you don't have a pum. If somebody knows you don't have a pum-pum in your house, they're coming in your house. But if they know you got one, chances are they may only come in when you're not at home and hope for the best. But you're definitely not going to go in somebody's houses if you know they got something. If everybody got something, you all got something. Just everybody chill. Everybody just chill and sit back. But no, not only did you get in conversations with Medvedev, you got in an argument with this man. He went in a verbal war of words with Medvedev online. And after going in a war of words, then he pulls up. How you going to pull up? He literally pulled up like, skirt, I'm here. I am here, and there's nothing else that you can say about it because I'm here. What you gonna do? Basically what he's saying. What are you gonna do? And then what did somebody else do? So it's like we all big boys. One big boy got a toy and he get upset, and then he go and he get another toy, and then he puts it out there. But that is what happened. And I personally believe that the earthquake that we saw was a DARPA earthquake because it was too much like the right timing. It was just too much. The timing was right. The timing was right in my impression. And just like you pulled up, just like clockwork, the first mass-produced Oshnik hypersonic missile system has entered service with Russia's armed forces. Their president, Vladimir Putin, announced on Friday, August 1st, 2025, during a briefing on the state of the military operation in Ukraine. Russia battle-tested the new hypersonic missile in November by conducting a strike on a military factory in Ukraine. The Oryshnik missile is believed to be nuclear capable, although Putin had previously stated that in its conventional form, it can inflict damage comparable to a low-yield nuclear explosion. And now, he's ordered a serial production of the hypersonic missile system following that successful test last year. He also noted that a question of supplying Oryshnik missiles to Belarus will likely be resolved by the end of 2025. He's added that specialists from both countries are now working on preparing positions for the system's future deployment. He also announced that Russian forces are advancing along the entire conflict line, including the border zone, the Donetsk and the Luhansk republics, as well as in Russia's Zaporizhzhia and the Kherson regions. The president attributed their success to the courage and heroism of their Russian soldiers. Commenting on Russia's recent liberation of Kazov Yar, formerly a pivotal Ukrainian stronghold in the Donetsk region, Putin stressed that Moscow is taking back what is its own, not seizing foreign territory. Their president also reiterated that Moscow remains open to negotiations, stating that they are, quote, always in demand and always important, especially if it is based on a desire for peace, close quote. I am Felicia Lockhart, and this has been the Lockhart News Brief. All right, so it's like we're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Now, as far as the tsunami situation is concerned, the tsunami situation would have already happened by now, according to what I read, but I mean, it could change. But they did say that if it hadn't hit by right now, then it's probably not going to hit. But then again, if they have something else happen up underneath the water, then yeah, it could turn into something else. But I just honestly felt like it was one of those things that, I don't know, was sort of coinky-dink. Check out Lockheed Martin's activities in Antarctica. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. There's some other stuff that happened in Antarctica. Oh, baby. Yes. All that oil. Did you guys hear about all the oil that Russia has now put their paws on? Let me find that story for you. Okay, I'm going to find that story, but then I'm also going to write my note down because there's another story that I have that I have to read to you guys. Okay, got that. But yes, let me tell you about that. They got a boatload of oil. And I do mean a boatload. Boatload. Barrels and barrels. And now everybody talking about we want it. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. It's thinking. I cannot stand the new search because the searches are now not just a regular search. It's like you have to talk about it. It's a conversation. Yeah, this is the one that I want. Let me see if I can read this without it giving me. Please buy it. Oh, good. Good. I don't have to buy it. All right. So this was, I don't want this one. I want the other one. I want the one. I want the one that I saw and I didn't put it here because sometimes I'll just be reading stuff with my eggs. Sometimes I'll just be reading with my eggs, and what I miss the most is the actual tangible newspaper. Oh, I used to love to get the newspaper every morning, but I don't get it here anymore. You have to go online. Everything is reading it or listening to it being read to you. All right, so basically, let me just say this, because even though they have it as being 24 and 25, no, there were more barrels, but let's just go on ahead. Yeah, you guys probably already know about it. Womp, 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 womp. But anyway, there was Russia reportedly finds a vast oil and gas reserves in the British Antarctic territory. Oh, well, you guys probably know they found 511 billion barrels of oil, equating to 10 times the North Sea's output over the past 50 years. Okay, so that was that. So let me go on to the story that you chose, Sarah. Let me get yours. Let's see, Lockheed Martin's activities in Antarctica. Let's check it out. Let me check that out. And if you have a link too, sis, that'll help a lot as well. If you have a link to something, just shoot it to me and I can look at it. But for right now, I'm just going to copy and paste your topic inside of the Doomaflickum and let it think. Let it think like Aretha Franklin. All right. Think about what you're trying to do to me. Lockheed Martin's activities in Antarctica. All right, let's see what they come up with, if there's anything. Now watch it take forever and ever and ever. Do you mean? Yeah, that's what I meant. Let's see. Lockheed Martin has a significant role supporting science. Shanana, and the Antarctic through its contract with the National Science and Assembly. Shanana, the program. Okay, what am I looking for, sis? Tell me, because I have all of the Shanana. They've got like 15 bullet points here. And they even say that I could dig deeper. What I do see is that on Lockheed Martin's own website itself, it does have an article from 2023. If you want me to put that, or Black Hawk helicopters soared the South Pole. Do you want that? What are we sharing together? You guys can all share a link. It's no biggie. Just share it. We got you. Let's see. EQ sounds like it's the same to swim for Kamchatka. F and EQ. F and EQ. F and EQ. I don't know what that means, Sarah. What are you trying to tell me, Sarah? F the EQ sounds like it's time to swim for Kamchatka. EQ. I don't get it. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it, but I will read the stories that we found. So let's just go in there and just try to read some of that to see if anything piques our interest. How about it? I think so. I like that idea. All right, setting goals leads to there. Let's look at the most recent one. So this is going to be this year, April 25th, 2025. The Black Hawk helicopters soar to the South Pole. Let's try that one. As one of the most remote places on Earth, the South Pole experiences frigid temperatures as low as 27 degrees Fahrenheit, or negative. Wow. That's negative 33 degrees Celsius. These are the extreme conditions for which the Chilean Air Force prepared for more than 12 months before successfully completing a historic mission dubbed Operation Polar Star 3. On January 3rd, 2025, the Chilean Air Force deployed 2 Black Hawk helicopters to the South Pole, marking significant milestones in its commitment to scientific development and international protection in the Antarctic region. The flight has made history in several ways. This is the first time the head of state from the Americas, Chilean President Gabriel Boric, has reached the South Pole, and for the first time, a female Chilean officer or Air Force pilot had taken part of the crew of a Black Hawk at the South Pole. Man, it's hard to get over there, and it's cold. Why don't they have anything on their faces? Huh. Her name is Natalie Enriquez. Looks like they put out their flags. Here, let me let you guys see it. That way you guys are in on it with me. We're in together. There you go. Do I want to accept? No, I don't. There you go. That's her. And that's the guys putting their flags there. Man, I wonder what they saw coming over there. Lord, I bet it was amazing. For the 2 Black Hawks to successfully land at the pole in Antarctica, the mission involved multiple stops over 7 hours and 6,000 kilometers from Santiago, Chile, which required extensive planning and logistics. Each day began with operational briefings involving all participants. The air crews reviewed the weather, fuel navigation systems, and the helicopter's performance. Despite adverse weather conditions, including strong winds and poor visibility, the greatest challenge was refueling in extremely low temperatures. The Black Hawk's ability to fly in these conditions, along with the crew's training, made this mission a success. I wonder what they saw. No one will ever know. The Black Hawk is designed to support special operations such as this one in advanced avionics and electronics, along with its high power to weight ratio, enabled the Chilean Air Force to carry out a complex and extensive mission. The success of this operation was the result of rigorous planning, considering logistics, communications, life support, and specialized training. The Black Hawk air crew participated in an extensive training program, which includes the operations in the southern ice fields, long-range flight simulations, snow training, and extreme cold survival training. Theoretical training and the aeronautic treaty, operational safety, and environmental protocol was also included. Operation Polar Star 3 not only reaffirms the strategic role of the Chilean Air Force in Antarctica, but also demonstrates the essential role of the aerial assets in this type of operation and highlighted the versatility of the Black Hawks in highly complex scenarios. Okay, with Sikorsky and Lockheed Martin, our customers can, and then there's some join our team stuff and won't. We have to go over there to see that, but I don't think we will. But thank you for at least giving us a topic to talk about. I surely do appreciate that. That means a lot. All righty, let's see. I have a fascination for Antarctica. Nothing to do with my... I love Antarctica. Are you kidding me? Hey, my sweet baby. How you doing, Betty R? It's good to see you. You've been listening, busy a while. Well, I'm glad you're listening. That's all that matters. And I'm very happy to see you here. Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with that, Sarah. I love to talk about Antarctica. I like that kind of stuff. Had to stretch there. I do. I enjoy talking about Antarctica. I also enjoy talking about this that I found very unique. You guys probably knew this. Hold on, let me tell you this. Look at this. It was May. I forgot to bring this to you guys. I don't know what I was doing in May. Oh, I do know what I was doing in May. Terrible. All right, you guys, I'm going to read this to you. We're going to read it together. I'm going to show you. Let's look at it together, shall we? Yes, we shall. Yes, we shall. All righty, and I'm going to share it here, and you can read it with me. We can read along together. One of my favorite topics. I love anything CERN because I love to see what they got going on, because without reading it, you would never flip and believe some of the stuff that's happening. But in a paper published by the Physical Review journals, the ALICE collaboration reports measurements that quantify the transmutation of lead into gold in CERN's Large Hadron Collider. Again, transmutation of lead into gold in CERN's Large Hadron Collider. Transforming the base metal lead into precious metal gold was a dream of medieval alchemists. Let me tell you something. Let me pause right there and let's go together. Listen to this. It says it was the dream of medieval alchemists. Thoth, does that ring a bell? Emerald tablets. Anybody? Does that ring a bell? Sarah, if you're into Antarctica, and that means that we're in alignment there, do you know about what I'm speaking? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Because if you don't, I'm just going to read the article. But if you do, I want you to give me a thumbs up in the chat to let me know you are tracking with me. Here's the reason why. Because the whole idea of this alchemist or alchemy that they're speaking of has everything to do with what was taking place before man arrived on this plane. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yes. Admiral Byrd, let me tell you something before we get back into the article, Sarah. I had an old set of encyclopedias, and I got them specifically for that. Okay. Do you know that they didn't have any of his memoirs or any of that information in that? Now, a lot of his people passed away before that. Oh yeah, men killed, ship sunk, aircraft lost. Yes, lots. Well, because it's a terrible, terrible trek to make, Sarah. We're going to have this conversation in a minute. I'm going to finish reading this because they literally are turning this to gold from lead. Somehow it happened. But I think that's what they were looking for. But nonetheless, I digress. Yes, we have to talk about that. We have to talk about that. They're monitoring your bio information as well. Well, I do little small stories every now and again, Max. And the reason why I put like a little story here or there is not because I necessarily agree with everything that I'm reading. I'm just putting info out there, and we've covered CERN. If you go and look, I think we changed the name from scientific to CERN to CERN. I don't know, but there's a playlist that's here. Okay. And we're talking about a lot of little things. I will just read it, but you need to know that if you're following me, you got to read between the lines if I bring it. Because if I bring it, it's for a reason. It's not just by accident. I highlighted on 2 different occasions the fact that all of our medical stuff, like the MRIs and the PET scans and all that, they make that. It's their technology. Yeah, so that part is amazing, right? Okay. So let's go ahead and get back into this article so that we can finish reading it. All right. So transforming the base metal lead into precious metal, gold was a dream of medieval alchemists. This long-standing quest known as, I cannot say that right now, you guys. Listen, everybody that knows me knows that because I have now and have had ongoing neurological issues, it prevents me from being able to say some words that I would have been able to say a long time ago. I mean, if you had heard me on radio before, I was like, that, it didn't matter what word it was. It didn't matter what dialect. If I saw it, I could break it down just by remembering what the dialect sound of that country or that language. But that right there, it looks like it says chrysopoeia. Chrysopoeia. That's what it's known as. Please tell me if I'm right or wrong. If I'm wrong, I apologize. If I'm right, let's move on. It's known as chrysopoeia, and it may have been motivated by the observation that dull, gray, relatively abundant lead is of a similar density to gold, which has long been coveted for its beautiful color and rarity. It's also used in spaceships. It's also used in technology, in mass, in large quantities, all right? It was only much later that it became clear that lead and gold are distinct chemical elements and that chemical methods are powerless to transmute one into the other. With the dawn of nuclear physics in the 20th century, it was discovered that heavy elements could transform into others, either naturally by radioactive decay or in the laboratory, under a bombardment of neutrons or protons. Though gold has been artificially produced in this way before, the ALICE collaboration has now measured the transmutation of lead into gold by a new mechanism involving near-miss collisions between lead nuclei at the LHC. Extremely huge energy collisions between lead nuclei at the LHC can create quark-gluon plasma, a hot and dense state of matter that is thought to have filled the universe around a millionth of a second after what they consider the Big Bang, giving rise to the matter we now know. However, In far more frequent interactions where the nuclei just miss each other without touching, the intense electromagnetic field surrounding them can induce photon, and photon nucleus interactions. So that's photon on photon and photon nucleus interactions. Those are two different things, you guys, that open further avenues of exploration. The electromagnetic field emanating from the lead nucleus is particularly strong because the nucleus contains 82 protons, each carrying one elementary charge. Moreover, the high speed at which the lead nuclei traveled in the LHC, corresponding 99.99993% of the speed of light, my goodness, causes the electromagnetic field lines to be squashed into a thin pancake, transverse to the direction of the motion, producing a short-lived pulse of photons. Often this triggers a process called electromagnetic dissociation, whereby a photon interacting with a nucleus can excite oscillations of its internal structure, resulting in the injection of small numbers of neutrons and protons. To create gold, a nucleus containing 79 protons, 3 protons must be removed from a lead nucleus in the LHC beams. Now, here's a quote from Marco van Leeuwen. He's the ALICE spokesperson. And I know you guys know that there are more than one, particle collider. There's more than one. ALICE is one of the colliders. Okay. It's impressive to see that our detectors can handle head-on collisions, producing thousands of particles, while also being sensitive to collisions where only a few particles are produced at a time, enabling the study of the electromagnetic nuclear transmutation process, says Marco van Leeuwen, the ALICE spokesperson. The ALICE team used the detectors 0-degree kilometers or calorimeters, ZDCs, okay, to count the number of photon nucleus interactions that resulted in the emissions of 0, 1, 2, and 3 photons accompanied by at least 1 neutron, which are associated with the production of lead, thallium, mercury, and gold, respectively. While less frequent than the creation of thallium or mercury, the results show that the LHC currently produces gold at a maximum rate of about 89,000 nuclei per second from lead collisions at the ALICE collision point. Gold nuclei emerged from the collision with very high energy and hit the LHC beam pipe or the collimators at various points downstream, where they immediately fragment into single protons, neutrons, and other particles. The gold exists for a tiny fraction of a second. The ALICE analysis shows that during run 2 of the LHC in 2015 and 2018, about 86 billion gold nuclei were created at the 4 major experiments. In terms of mass, that corresponds to just 29 picograms. Since the luminosity in the LHC is continually increasing thanks to regular upgrades to the machine, Run 3 has produced almost double the amount of gold that Run 2 did, but the total still amounts to trillions of times less than would be required to make a piece of jewelry. While the dream of medieval alchemists has technically come true, their hopes of riches have once again been dashed. I think we'll leave that there because that's the point. That's the point that they did try it. So let's go over here and see, we're going to take one more request to cover a story or to cover a topic, and then we're going to head out. Even Isaac Newton was an alchemist, was into alchemy. You think so, Sarah? And isn't it ironic that the things, and that's I think that's part of the reason why I marvel at certain things, especially when it relates to them, because my grandson just the other day suffered a terrible seizure and they had to give him an MRI. CERN makes those. They did the technology to do those. So I would say there's some evil and then there's some good. I think it shows like the duality of people, good and bad. You can get something good out of it, take the good and throw away the bad, at least while you're here, because you can't live in just the bad alone. So find out what's good of a certain thing and do like I always say, eat the watermelon and spit out the seeds if you can find a real watermelon these days, not like one that was all folded up with the seeds all peppered inside of it. It's been great having my morning coffee with you guys today. I so appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out with me, caring for me, being concerned for me, reaching out to me when you guys do. It means so much. It really does. You have no idea. I have always said that I would just love to meet everybody and just hug everybody's neck. I have said that before, and I really do mean that. Because in the day of technology, it's a blessing and a curse that we have the ability to reach thousands of people at one time. But the curse is that those you really don't get to meet those who labor among you. Most of you, some of you have your own channels, and it would be outstanding to be able to sit together and brainstorm on a topic, and then all of us come together and put that topic up. And now we have a whole team of us who've done a specific leg of the project, and we just bring it all to fruition. That's a good feeling to be able to do that with people of like mind. And having the mindset that it is both a blessing and a curse is really made evident by the comment in and of itself, that you can be around people and then you can't. But what I want you guys to do is to remember to take care of yourselves and keep your eyes open to your surroundings, especially we ladies, as you go into grocery stores. I want you guys to make sure you're paying attention to vehicles that are parked right next to you. Don't park next to vans. Be careful if you find money on the floor or the ground. Be careful the kind of weird looking candy that your grandchildren may find. And the reason why I'm saying this is not to stoke fear, but to give you a gentle nudge and a reminder that as you go along your everyday, keep your eyes open to everything around you. Now, on to my regular standard spiel. I want you guys to make sure that you take care of yourselves, because ain't nobody else gonna do it. Ain't nobody gonna do it. Nobody. You got to take care of yourself, and then after you've taken care of yourself, you can reach around and help somebody else. But if you can't breathe, how you gonna help somebody else breathe? Put your mask on yourself. Come on, super baby. Take care of yourselves, and then you can reach around and help others. And until I speak to you again, I want you to make sure you take care of my friend, because my friend is you. Peace.
Hey everyone, it's me, Felicia, of the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. I want to tell you a little secret. This is what I used to do, because I don't do it anymore. I would go to the store, buy the barbecue sauce, pour it inside of a bowl, put a whole bunch of different spices, a dash of brown sugar, a dash of maple, and a dash of mustard, stir it all around, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best, this is the best. But I was exhausted after all of that, and a lot of times I couldn't remember how many dashes of what I put in it. But I don't have to do that anymore, because now I just go to Judge Joe Brown's website and I order his 3-pack of bottled barbecue sauce. It is by far the best, and I do mean the best barbecue sauce I've ever eaten. And when you go to his website and you order his 3-pack, you'll see exactly what I mean. Head on over to jjbbbq.com and order Judge Joe Brown's barbecue sauce. You'll be glad you did, and you're going to tell me about it. I know you will.
Lockhart Perspective.